coming back from Tommy John surgery.
Well, the reports are that his fastball is back. He's throwing 93 miles an hour, has a really good slider and a split. You look at his numbers overall against the Mariners, a 1.90 ER for his career. That's second best only to Pedro Martinez. So he's pitched well against the Mariners. They're definitely going to have to make some adjustments to him tonight.
Well, the Oakland A's very much in the wild card race and not that far behind Texas. When we come back, Angie takes a look at the wild card update.
Welcome back. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by CenturyLink, a different kind of communications company. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By Banner Bank, better ideas, better banking. And by the Emerald Queen Casino, presenting Funny Man and Tool-Time King Tim Allen October 20th. For tickets, go to emeraldqueen.com. Hi, everybody. Angie Mentink here at Four Sports Desk. Throughout the afternoon and early evening, we will update you on your Northwest College football scores. But right now, we stay on task. Things extremely tight in the AL East. Earlier, we checked in with the Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles to see what was happening in their series. They split the first two games. Game 3 underway and getting late in that one. The Yankees, this is the way it started, up by 1 in the second, and Ichiro adds another one. Doubles into center field. That brings around Russell Martin. And then in the bottom of the second, Mark Reynolds gets right back at him, sends a solo shot to left center field for his 21st of the season. It's a one-run game. Next batter, Lou Ford, ties the game with a blast to center field. It's his third homer of the season, but the Orioles have since taken the lead. That game right now in the bottom of the 6th. Rays right behind the A's in the wild card race. Things were quiet in their game against the Rangers until the 4th when Josh Hamilton rocks a 2-run shot to center field, his 40th long ball of the year. And right now, Texas leading Tampa Bay. We will keep you updated on both of these games throughout the afternoon. That one almost finished in the top of the 8th. All right, so Here's what things look like right now in the AL wildcard standings. Athletics, these very Athletics that the Mariners are about set for, and the Baltimore Orioles have the top 2 spots in the wild card race. The Tampa Bay Rays right behind them. Angels not far back from that. Now, folks, back on Wednesday, the Mariners equaled their win total from all of last year. Can they get over the hump tonight against Brett Anderson? On the Mariners side, Iwakuma hasn't allowed a run in 10 1/3 innings. We have got first pitch between the Mariners and the Athletics next here on Root Sports.
It is a perfect night for baseball here in Seattle. What a view there. The skyline, the Olympics, the sun, the ballpark. Couldn't be nicer. As the folks are enjoying it already, and we haven't even had the first pitch. What a night. What a series. The Mariners and the A's. Game 2 of this 3-game set here at Safeco Field.
Take a look at the lineups for this evening's game. First for the Oakland Athletics. Leading things off, it'll be Coco Crisp. Want to keep him off the bases. He will run wild if you let him. Then it's Seth Smith. Josh Reddick leading the club with 28 home runs on the year. Cespedes last night had a good game. He had 321 since the break with 7 home runs. He had 2 hits in last night's ball game. Chris Carter getting his first start of the series. He will be at first base. Then it's Stephen Drew, the former Arizona Diamondback, playing shortstop and hitting 6. Donaldson, Gutierrez last night with the big blow. It was a 3-run home run against the Mariners. He will hit 8th. And Cliff Pennington will bat 9th. Numbers for Iwakuma on the year, a 3.14 ERA, 80 strikeouts on the year to 39 walks for him. Out fastball will be 91, 92 miles an hour. We use a split and a slider, try to keep the A's off balance. And the defense playing behind Iwakuma this evening in the outfield. Yeah, Trayvon Robinson getting the start in left field. Gutierrez in center. Michael Saunders in left field last night. Out in right field tonight on the infield. Seager at third. Ryan Inactive playing up the middle. Justin Smoke, the first baseman. And Jesus Montero will do the catching.
Boy, Iwakuma has been absolutely great lately, and he's really overall done a superb job as a starter, coming off the game against the Angels when he went 7 1/3 and pitched well again.
He really did, and I think the biggest thing is if he can stay away from the walks, Ken, that's when he's at his best. And Typically, the first couple innings, he'll get a feel for his breaking ball, but he will mix it up at times, throw a really slow curveball to steal some strikes early in counts.
And Coco Crisp leads it off for the A's. Speed is his game, and he looks at a high, hard one, ball one. Coco with that average at 250, former Red Sox outfielder. He has had a tough time lately with the bat, reflected by his 0 for 5 last night in the opener, won by the A's 6-1. Swing, and he misses it, but had just gotten a piece of it, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
You mentioned the speed of Coco Crisp. Well, it's really the A's overall. One of the things that they have changed with Bob Melvin, 4th in the league in stolen bases, and also walk 3rd in the league and walk, no surprise there, but 7th in home runs. That's a big jump for the A's.
Yeah, if you can run and hit for power, that's a pretty nice combination. Crisp looks at the fastball, and it's 2-1.
And add in some pretty good pitching, 2nd in the league in ERA. That helps. And I think for them, it's been in the past they used to just try to work counts, try to get walks, didn't want to take chances, give up outs. So it's a different ball club now.
And their defense is a little better this season, which wasn't hard to do. And a little grounder foul, 2-2 last season. They were 2nd worst in the big leagues in defense in terms of number of errors to the Cubs. So
they've improved.
Yeah, by definition, you're going to improve a little bit. So they've taken a big leap here in 2012.
It's been a pretty good story. They have a rough schedule ahead of them. It'll be interesting to watch to see if they can hang in there. And we'll find out. Their first time going through it. A lot of young players on their club.
So it's 2 balls, 2 strikes on Coco Crisp, and he drives the ball deep to right down the line, fair or foul, and it is a foul ball near that 326 marker. So 2 balls and 2 strikes on Crisp with Seth Smith on deck. The defense pretty much straight away on Coco, who is a switch hitter. And he gets an inside pitch, not much else he could do with it. Still 2-2.
See all those pitches. Trying to pitch him inside, stay on his hands.
Montero with the signs, doing the catching tonight, setting up down and in. And the target is almost hit exactly, but not quite good enough for plate umpire Lance Barrett. And it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. There is Smith on deck.
Mariners just had a series in Chicago. Lance Barrett was behind home plate. In one of those games, he ended up throwing out A.J. Pierzynski, catcher for the White Sox. Wasn't happy with him.
And there's ball 4. So Iwakuma walks the first man he faces. Mike, of course, just mentioning Iwakuma, and if he doesn't walk many. Of course, he's a very deliberate worker. And when he does get men on base, he tends to be even more deliberate.
He is, and I know that it's something that Eric Wedge, his staff, they've talked to him about and they've looked at it. But I suppose at the end of the day, Ken, for him, he's been successful and he's getting people out, and his numbers reflect that. So I think they're reluctant to try to speed him up. Most of the time we hear about a good rhythm and good pace, and it helps the defense behind you. But because of the way he's thrown the baseball, they've just left him alone.
The DH, Seth Smith, hitting .250. And there is ball 1. Well, Iwakuma, when he doesn't have men on base, or in some of his starts, has had a pretty nice rhythm and a relatively quick pace. But more often than not, Eric Wedge has watched him be very methodical.
I think that's fair. I think when he's pitching out of the windup, he's fine. But when he gets into the stretches, when he takes a little more time.
Mariners looking for a double play ball here from Smith. And it's 2-0. Remember now, Crisp, the speed we talked about. So at first base, he is always a threat to go, right there with first base coach Ty Waller. Coco has stolen 32 bases. That's 3rd best in the American League.
And this is a tough count. Seth Smith, the former Colorado Rocky. He's a first ball fastball hitter, so he wants to be aggressive when he can. And this is a count that he will be aggressive.
2-0. And that's a strike. Now you've got a pretty good running count, and as soon as the umpire's arm went up, At first base, Crisp looking over to third base coach Mike Gallego. There you see all that hitting room on the right side for the left-handed hitter. The outfield is straight away on Seth Smith. But not surprisingly, Iwakuma keeping an eye on Coco.
Iwakuma, he has a good run on his fastball. I would think in this situation, you just mentioned it, and the room on the right side of the infield, they certainly are aware of that. But if he can run some pitches off the outside corner, maybe get him to roll over and hit something weakly, get a double play ball that way. But I think it makes it difficult because he also likes to throw his slider down and into the lefties, and I think that you're helping him out if he throws that pitch in this situation. Just try to keep the ball away from him and see if he tries to do too much with it.
Yeah, good idea. 2-1, good running count here. Coco Crisp doing some groundskeeping and also getting some dirt out of his cleats, and gets time from the umpires. Now they're ready to go again. Coco's lead strong, not a great lead, but getting a little better. And he is going to fake going, and the ball sent to left. Fairly well hit. Robinson back there circling, makes the catch, and Crisp almost a second will hustle back, and that's the first out of this ball game. Seth Smith retired.
Looks like he's able to jam him, surprises him with a fastball. You can see the run on his fastball, only 89 miles an hour, but it's the movement of it. See, it's the routine fly ball out to left.
So Iwakuma now will face the third hitter in the order. He's the power gun on this A's team, Josh Reddick, their right fielder. He was 0 for 5 last night, but the numbers tell the story. 28 homers, 75 RBIs. So he's really had a big year, the ex-Red Sox outfielder. He has a cut, and it's 1 strike, gets just a piece of it.
Reddick 0 for 5 last night. The Mariners will continue to try to pitch him away if they can. Outfield playing him straight away.
Reddick still young. He's only 25, and that pitch misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Reddick of late has been real streaky. He had a stretch of 6 games where he had 14 hits, 3 of them home runs, and then now the last 6 games he's had only 2 hits. Gone 2 for 23 in his last half dozen games. Again, the M's look for the double play ball, and there is just kind of a spoil swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
First thing today, the Mariners haven't had a chance to see a lot of this because Franklin Gutierrez hasn't been healthy, but this might be the fastest 3 outfielders that they have. You look at Gutierrez in center, Saunders, who's played center field for the majority of the year, now moves over to right, and then Trayvon Robinson in left. They should be able to cover a lot of ground in the outfield.
Yeah, Gutierrez, of course, is tough to beat, and Saunders, as you point out, covers a lot of ground and is very strong out in right field. And Robinson with the speed. Foul back, 1 and 2. Trayvon is certainly not as polished defensively as Gutierrez or Saunders, but I think has settled in a little bit and has played better in left field than he did when he came up from Tacoma. Has improved his game defensively.
I think that you're right, Ken. I think the main thing for him is when he was called up, he's made some spectacular plays in left field. But I think at times he probably doesn't get the best jump, as you're talking about Gutierrez and Saunders. But he's getting better, and I think that just comes with confidence because since he's been up here, he's played well out there.
Reddick fouls it back, 1 and 2. Well, folks that have watched a lot of games on TV or been out here at the ballpark or even listened on radio know that a lot of times he has his first move is back. This is Trayvon Robinson out in left field. First move is back. Now that tells me that he thinks he doesn't go back on the ball real well. I mean, his first instinct is, whoop, I'll take a step back. So that's a judgment question, and maybe mentally saying, you know, I'm always going to sort of cheat a little bit on going back. So he has a lot of recovery to do. Ground ball, Swope, dandy play to Ryan. They get it out there, back to first, not in time. So Coco Crisp is retired on the 3-6 putout, And Reddick will be at first base with 2 away.
Justin Smoak has had his struggles at the plate, but only 2 errors on the year, and this is a good play. He gets the speedy crisp at second base. Always good to get the lead runner if you can, and that was not an easy pick. But Justin gives Brendan Ryan every opportunity to turn the double play. Reddick runs well, able to beat it out.
Yeah, Smoke's glove has really consistently been terrific. Here's a kid that's had a real good year. Yoenis Cespedes, 292, 16 homers, 65 RBIs. I remember the season started. Well, of course we saw him in spring training, but also in Tokyo. Boy, everybody's eyes were on this kid from Cuba. He hasn't had a spectacular year, but he certainly has had a solid season. He's the cleanup hitter, and he takes strike 1. He's hurt the Mariners with the home run ball. He's only hit .213 against the M's, but 5 of his 10 hits have been home runs.
We showed in the graphic when we were doing the lineups that he's swung the bat much better since the All-Star break. And again, I just think that next year will probably be a big year for him. He's a talented young man. He's a big, strong kid, and he can run. And he's shown some power this year against the Mariners when he's hit them. He's not hitting them in the first row. They're going way back. And I think just with his overall skill set, when he gets an idea of what this league is about, and I just think there you go. You can see what he's done against the Mariners this year. Only .213 average, but 5 home runs in 14 games against Seattle.
Yeah, he's a talent. There's no question. And against Iwakuma, he's had 2 at bats, but what do you think? 1 home run. 2 down, runner at first. First inning, a shot, and it gets by Seager. Now you've got the runner Reddick heading for second. Gallego waving him in. Robinson up with the ball, and scoring easily from first is Reddick. And Cespedes has his 66th RBI as the ball is hit into the left field corner. Now the scorer is going to charge an error. So Cespedes will not get a hit. They're going to charge an error on Seager.
I think this is a pitch that he hits off the end of the bat, and Kyle thought it was coming down to him a lot harder than it actually was. He had time to get in front of that as you watch Reddick run around the bases, and Trayvon gets the ball down into the corner. Gets it in quickly, but again, with 2 outs, Reddick scores without a throw. But I think sometimes that's one of the difficult things about third base is you see that swing and you expect the ball to be hit harder, and I think if Kyle had to do it over again, he would have been able to get his body in front of that. That being said, Kyle's really played well at third base this year, but sometimes the speed of it will fool you because of the big swing.
Now the batter is the rookie first baseman Chris Carter, and that ball catches the outside corner. Strike 1. Now that's a play you would, the way Seager has played, and I agree, he's, for me, he's been outstanding at third base.
I would agree.
And that's a play you expect him to make. But you played a lot of third base in the big leagues, so you know what the deal is, because it certainly looked like a bullet coming off the bat.
Right, and that's what you feel at third. Sometimes to get a look at it is difficult, and you have to make a decision right away at third. You don't get the right angle as you do at short or at second. And for Kyle, he's been terrific all year, but that one right there was one that fooled him a little bit. You can see him shaking his head. That's a play that he normally would make.
So you're good with the error?
No, not really. I think I would give him credit for a base hit on that. It's not an easy play, but I think he could have kept the ball in front of him.
Now the count is 1-2 on Chris Carter.
And that doesn't mean he makes the play. He just knocks it down and keeps a run from scoring. But I think it would have been a difficult play when a guy is hooking a ball down there like that. That's a tough play to make.
See, my sense was that it was a hit also.
Okay.
That was my sense. It's a hit. And if he had knocked it down, Cespedes running, it's probably a base hit also.
Right.
Either way,
well.
unless he picks it cleanly.
That's a tough play.
Yeah, it's going to be a hit. Swing and a miss. Iwakuma at 93 miles per hour blows it by Chris Carter. So a run in the first for the A's. have a run early. Now the Mariners come up.
Tonight's starting lineup's brought to you by Chevron. Dustin Ackley will lead it off. Franklin Gutierrez back in the lineup. He will hit second. Then it's Seager Montero. See what he's done on this homestand. A .421 average on the homestand. Smoke. Saunders in the lineup again. Good to see Saunders in the lineup hitting 6. Olivo, Robinson, and Brendan Ryan to round out the 9 for the Mariners.
Here is Dustin Ackley, and he takes strike 1 from the youngster Brett Anderson. And Ackley coming in hitting .230, 0 for 4 last night. And the breaking pitch takes it to 1-1.
For Anderson, his fastball will be 91 to 93 miles an hour. We'll use a slider and a changeup. We were talking about Iwakuma and his pace. Anderson, somebody that will catch it and throw it. He wants to work at a quick pace, so it'll be interesting to see if the Mariners try to slow him down a little bit.
Third baseman is in tight as the ball is lifted to left. Cespedes, late going back, makes the catch, and there's one out. Let's look at Oakland's defense.
Routine play for Cespedes out in left field. In center field will be Coco Crisp, Josh Reddick, the right fielder. On the infield, as Kevin mentioned, they're improved. Josh Donaldson at third base. Drew and Pennington playing up the middle. Chris Carter was out last night in the lineup tonight playing first base. And George Gutierrez will do the catching. Brett Anderson on the season. 3 starts, 3-0 with an 0.90 ERA. So he has pitched well, and again, he has pitched well against the Mariners in his career.
He gets a strike on Franklin Gutierrez, who comes in hitting .263, 3 homers, 11 RBIs. And there's another strike, 0-2. Of course, Gutierrez's season is well chronicled, only 22 games, injuries, rehab in Tacoma, injuries last season, and the list of injuries is incredible. It's hard to imagine one player could have such varied injuries in just 2 short seasons, but it's been tough for Frank.
It has been, which has made it tough for the Mariners because he's somebody you'd like to have in the lineup every day, but after having the stomach issues and then some other injuries and getting hit in the head with the concussion.
There's the breaking ball, and it's 2-2.
And I think what Eric would like to see, and from talking to him about it, he'd just like to see him finish strong this year, play regularly the rest of the way out, come to spring training in good shape next year. Franklin signed through next year. And get an opportunity. He was talking about it. Eric was laughing because they finally had him in the lineup with Saunders. He said, finally, I get these 2 guys in the lineup together. It's been a chore, but for Franklin, hopefully he's through the worst of it.
The breaking pitch, he checks his swing. That's Jim Reynolds umpiring at first base.
We'll take a look at the check swing on the hard breaking ball. He said that he did not go.
Well, you look at this ball club, and you know, we talk about how young it is, and Gutierrez is, you know, one of those veterans you're always looking for things like that. A sharp base hit on a 3-2 offering. So Gutierrez, who in limited action this season is absolutely chewed up left-handed pitching, has a 1-out first inning single.
A solid base hit on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Fastball that was on the outside corner. Franklin hits it hard into left field. The other thing that Franklin has done when he's been able to get on base early in games is he's put the game in motion. Not afraid to steal as you take a look at our McDonald's Supermo and the swing by Franklin Gutierrez.
And here is Kyle Seager. He's had a big year, especially in that RBI department. 78 leading the team, though a great many of them have been on the road. Hard to imagine 55 of his 78 runs batted in have been away from Safeco. That's a good pitch there to start off with. 1 strike. Good enough for a strike, not good enough to swing.
The good news with Kyle, though, is he struggled here at home in the first half of the season, but here in the second half, he's really picked it up. So it's another one of the encouraging signs for this club moving forward into next year. It seems that Kyle has made his adjustment hitting in this ballpark. He also leads the club in home runs with 16. Has 26 doubles on the year, and I would have to say for his first full season, it's been a success.
There you see the RBI leaders on the Mariners, especially the 3 youngsters at the top of the list. Breaking pitch takes it to 1-1. Brett Anderson came off the disabled list on August 21st. He had Tommy John surgery last July. Last season made 13 starts, went 3-6, then was shut down. Came back, pitched in the minors on rehab, his 4th start since coming back to the big leagues, and he goes 2-1 on Seager with his club up 1-0 here in the first inning. The A's getting their run without a hit in the top of the first inning. An error by Seager in the top of the inning. The Mariners had a first inning Eric Thames error last night that cost them a run, and that breaking ball misses. So the count now on Kyle is 3-1.
Flashing you the numbers, Anderson, you can see that he's pitched well against the Mariners, a 1.90 ERA, so he's pitched extremely well, but he's also pitched even better here at Safeco, a 1.15 ERA.
Ball stroked to center. Chris back near the track, on it, and Coco makes the catch, tagging at first. Gutierrez, he's on his way to second, and he beats the relay throw. Heads up base running by Gutierrez on the fly ball off the bat of Kyle Seager, and the Mariners have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs.
We're talking about the veteran and the leadership of Franklin Gutierrez. A good read from him. This ball is hit well into center field, but Franklin knew that it was probably going to be caught. So he goes back, you see the ball hit, takes a few steps, and sees Coco Crisp that he's going to make the play, and tags up immediately to get himself into scoring position. So although it was an out, it turns out to be a productive out as Franklin gets into scoring position, the first runner in scoring position tonight for the Mariners.
Big advantage being at second rather than at first, and here is Jesus Montero. And that's a strike. A lot of good things to say here about Montero. His rookie season, the 15 homers, 54 RBIs. And I think best of all, he's hot right now with a 6-game hitting streak, and you've heard all season that he really hits left-handers. 1-1.
He has hit lefties well this year, and the good news is he's hit righties much better since the break there, but overall, 338 average against lefties with 6 home runs.
The cleanup hitter, Montero, looking to tie the game at 1, strokes the ball to right. Reddick drifts back, makes the catch to retire the side. After an inning, the A's are up 1-0. You youngsters, if you think you're as fast as, well, maybe Franklin Gutierrez or Dustin Ackley, you're going to be able to test your speed tomorrow after the game. The A's are back. You youngsters, come on out with mom and dad, brothers and sisters, and after the game, you head out on the field, run around the bases, all thanks to KeyBank. So don't miss your last chance this season to take part in the fun post-game event here at the ballpark. So get ready by running to get tickets right now at the Safeco Field box office. Ken Wilson, Mike Blowers, nice to have you with us. Dave Sims is on assignment tonight. Nice to get a chance to keep his chair warm tonight and tomorrow afternoon as the Mariners try to get the final 2 games in this 3-game series after the A's picked up a victory last night. Here is Stephen Drew, and the shortstop takes a strike from Hisashi Iwakuma.
Iwakuma needs to have a quick inning somewhere along the way. Had to throw 25 pitches in the first inning. He was able to throw strikes, but the A's, again, they will be patient until you show them that you have the ability to throw strikes. Then they'll turn it up a little bit. But there you go. Good count right away. 0-2 count for Iwakuma.
You're going to have a lot of success if you can frequently go 0-2. Stephen Drew, a bad ankle he's battled the last 2 seasons. Broke it in a slide last season with Arizona. This one in the dirt, 1-2. Of course, his brothers, J.D. and Tim, both played in the big leagues. J.D. of the 3, probably the most notable. But really interesting that all 3 were first-round draft picks. That's amazing.
Talented family, isn't it?
That's not bad. Here's the 1-2. And high and away, 2-2. I mean, you talk about the idea that you could have 2 brothers reach the big leagues. To me, is astounding. To have 3 is really unbelievable. And then to find out you had 3 and they were all first-round draft picks. That's pretty impressive.
I'm not sure that's ever happened.
I would think not.
No.
The 2-2, and that ball slammed to left. Robinson has to hardly move. And Stephen Drew is gone, leading off here in the second inning. Boy, this Oakland team, Mike, has been fabulous since the All-Star break.
You look at their overall numbers, and the big one for them, because they have such good pitching, they're still pitching well. As you look at the ERA at 3.5, but it's the runs. 5.20 runs, second best since the All-Star break, and that's a huge jump for them with the pitching that they have. It's one of the reasons why we've seen the Mariners also play much better since the All-Star break, swinging the bats better, but not quite at the clip that the A's have.
Here is Josh Donaldson, and he takes strike 1. Well, the comparison for Oakland, you saw there in the game since the All-Star break, they've averaged over 5 runs a game. Before the All-Star break, they were last in the league at 3.7 runs a game. Off the end of the stick, this will bleed into left center. Gutierrez will throw it back in, and Josh Donaldson, who drove in a run and was 1 for 2 last night, has a base hit here in the second inning.
Donaldson taking a hack at a slider, and as Ken mentioned, hits it off the end of the bat. So a broken bat flare into center field. We'll have another base runner.
The A's, as we mentioned, getting an unearned run in the first inning without a hit. And here's George Gutierrez. Well, the game really turned last night with Felix Hernandez on the mound when Gutierrez hit a 3-run homer to take it from 1-0 to 4-0, and that was kind of one of those kind of hits.
It was one of those almost in shock type of hits because Felix has been on such a good run. It was surprising to see anybody hit him out of the ballpark. And really, if you go back and you look at that pitch, yeah, it was in the middle of the plate, but he also had it down. It was right at the knees, maybe just below him as he golfed it out to right field.
1-0 the count. And that's a strike, so it's 1-1.
For Gutierrez, that was his 4th home run of the season.
And he's been hot. Last 4 games, Gutierrez has 3 home runs and 11 RBIs. They picked him up at the end of July from the Milwaukee Brewers. Last 3 seasons with the Brews, and 08 and 09 with the Red Sox. 2 balls, 1 strike on the Athletics catcher and 8th hitter George Gutierrez.
Mariners defense playing it straight up on in the outfield and on the infield.
This would be a nice spot to throw that double play ball here. But Donaldson at first, held there by Smoke. And again, Mike at the outset talked about all the left-handed hitters. You get these situations, you got that big hole. There goes the runner, and the ball is tapped fair. Jumping on it, Montero, and he guns to first to retire Gutierrez, and Donaldson is safe at second base as the play goes 2-3, 2 down.
Gutierrez fooled on this pitch. It was a strange looking swing from him. I don't think he really meant to try to put the ball in play, just kind of a half swing. Montero gets on it quickly, but because Donaldson was already on the move, no play at second. The A's will have a runner in scoring position for the second inning in a row.
So that is Donaldson out at second. Here's the 9th hitter in the order, Cliff Pennington. But, you know, he's not really a normal ninth hitter, at least not right now. Hitting .216, but he is red hot with a bat, so he's going to be a tough out here. 1-0 A's, second inning. Breaking ball, ball one.
Mariners were able to see that last night. Pennington going 4 for 4 in last night's ball game.
What do you think the chances were when Cliff Pennington came to the ballpark last night and said, I'm starting against Felix Hernandez? You think I can go 4 for 4?
I guarantee you he was hoping to mix in a walk, maybe a flare somewhere. So yeah, it was a special night for him.
He figured he was going to be collared. The ball slashed down the left field line. Robinson giving chase, and he makes the catch on the run. A dandy running catch by Trayvon Robinson to take an extra base hit away from Cliff Pennington. And that ends the inning. Robinson seems to excel going to his right towards the line.
Fine running catch by Trayvon, slicing away from him. We've seen him run into that wall a number of times since being recalled, haven't we?
Yeah, every once in a while he'll even reach in and take the ball from the fans. Nice play by the second sacker, Pennington, as Smoke connects on the first pitch from Anderson, and he's retired 4-3. One pitch, one out here in the Mariners' second inning. So Justin Smoke, a 191 hitter, is back in the dugout, and up strides Michael Saunders, playing right field and coming in hitting .245. But this, of course, for Saunders is a season of much improvement over last season and the previous seasons where he'd had problems just staying with the big club. And he takes a strike.
And I would agree with you. For Michael, he had been consistently right at 260. It seemed like he was staying in that area all year, and then he had a little bit of a hiccup 2 weeks where he struggled, but he was really swinging the bat well again before he ended up getting hurt. I think he'd homered in 4 out of 5 days, something like that, and really was swinging the bat well, and then he missed some time. So hopefully he can pick it up again and finish strong.
He's in the hole 0-2, and that one just misses 1-2. I was kidding around with Michael in the clubhouse before the game. I said, "You feeling better?" He said, "Oh, I feel good now." I said, "Geez, too bad. You know, you were just, getting the bat going again when you got hurt. I said, too bad you weren't in that one of those 2 for 20 streaks. Then you'd been happy to have a week or so off. But that's just the way it is. It just doesn't quite ever go the way you hope it will."
No, it doesn't. But I think, too, the good news with that is he had the injury, and a big part of it is because he's played every day.
Hits this ball well. Crisp on the run. Won't get there. One hop. The ball jumps over the wall. And that is a ground rule double for Michael Saunders with one out here in the second inning.
Just talking about Michael hopefully picking it up again, and that's a good swing that he puts on a breaking ball. He's actually done a pretty good job against left-handers this year. You take a look at this pitch, breaking ball, middle of the plate. Coco Crisp can run it down with the best of them, but this ball is just lined out to center field. We take a look at our McDonald's Supermo and the swing by Michael Saunders as he drives that ball out to center field and gets himself into scoring position with just one out.
I would say that's not what Brett Anderson had in mind. 0-2.
No.
That was his waist breaking ball. Ball one on Miguel Olivo, who's the DH tonight. Miguel hitting .215. And he's been hitting much better here in the second half. Last 17 games hitting at a .266 clip. So a chance to tie it with one out here in the second. And that's a strike, 1-1. And now the catcher, Gutierrez, wants to go out and chat with Anderson. There you see the Olivo numbers. He hasn't done much against Oakland.
That visit going out and making sure that they have the sequence of signs and that they're together on what they want to do, because he jumped out of there before he even caught the ball. He was on his way out to the mound, so I think that maybe he wanted to make sure with Saunders at second base, he'll go through a series of signs to make sure that they were on the same page.
Second inning, the Mariners trail 1-0. Swing and a miss, 1-2. The M's had Gutierrez out at second base with 2 outs in the opening inning, and Montero flied to right. Now they have Saunders at second base with 1 out here in the second. Olivo up with a 1-2 count, and Trayvon Robinson on deck. The outfield plays Olivo to pull, ground ball, and it's off the shortstop, Drew. Stopping at third is Saunders, and the Mariners get a break there. Runners at first and third, and only 1 out. That'll be an error on the shortstop, Stephen Drew.
Take a look at it. Looks like a routine play to Drew. Comes in, the ball comes up on him a little bit. That's a play that he should normally handle. Saunders being aggressive again, moves up to third. But that will be an error on Drew. The Mariners in a good situation here with a runner on first and third and just 1 out.
And Robinson will come up. There's Saunders at third. Olivo is over at first. Oakland thinking double play to end the inning. The third baseman Donaldson even with a bag. And that is a strike on the switch hitting Trayvon Robinson. Boy, you just can't give teams extra opportunities. Sometimes it's an error like that, or an error like Seager made in the first inning. Sometimes it's just a play you don't make. Swing and a miss, and it goes as a hit. 1 strike on Trayvon.
And of course the key to it is you have to take advantage of it when the team makes those mistakes. So the Mariners again in a good situation, but Trayvon immediately in an 0-2 count against a pitcher that has pitched well since coming back from the DL. So he has his work cut out for him. He needs to find a way to put it in play.
Yeah, that's all you want to do now. Get your bat on it. And it's high, 1-2. This is again one of those spots, if you can put the ball in play, at least make the A's make a play defensively. I mean, you may hit a slow roller, who knows what you do. But ideally you don't want to strike out. Of course, you don't want to hit into a double play either. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I remember years ago when Pete Rose, of course, who was the ultimate contact hitter when he was managing, he hated strikeouts. I mean, he would always just, he wanted everybody. Yeah, he wanted everybody. No matter what, just put it in play, but don't strike out. And, again, if you put it in play and hit into a double play here, you'd say strikeout would have been better. But generally, when you're putting it in play, you're forcing the opposition to make the plays defensively.
The Mariners right now are in a good position because they weren't able to make a play. They put it in the ball and play by Olivo, and they kick it. Now you have that first and third situation. And as far as the double play goes, Trayvon, I think you'd have to hit it firmly right to an infielder because he runs well. It'd be tough to double him up.
The breaking pitch chopped to Pennington. He goes to second. The throw to first nowhere near in time, and the Mariners tie it at 1 here in the second inning as Saunders crosses the dish and Robinson picks up the RBI, his 9th of the season. And that's exactly what you were talking about. And I'm not sure why Pennington seemed to hesitate, but the job is done and it's tied.
Well, for Pennington, he is a shortstop by trade, and they moved him over to second base. But this This ball is not hit hard. Again, putting it in play. So Trayvon will pick up an RBI as he bounces this ball to the second baseman. He'll field it on the second hop. But with Trayvon Speed, there's no chance to turn two. He's well past the bag, so the Mariners able to tie the game up.
Throw to first, and Robinson is back. So there you go. That's an example of he got behind in the count 1-2, worked it to 2-2, got a pitch that was a tough pitch to hit, but put it in play. Much better than striking out. You get the run across. Brendan Ryan hitting $1.97 with a couple of homers, 29 RBIs, as they keep Robinson close at first base.
And for good reason. Trayvon with 6 stolen bases since being recalled. He's been thrown out 3 times. So when he's getting on base, he's trying to make things happen at first. Sure, he has the green light to run if he gets a good jump.
1 ball to count on Ryan. The Mariners with the Marineros jerseys tonight, as you might note. That just about exhausts my Spanish. Hablo muy poco español. There goes Robinson, the pitch inside. It hits the batter Ryan. He is hit by a pitch. Like he got hit down around the knee. We'll take a look at it. And a pretty slow getting up is Brendan Ryan.
Couldn't tell if it hit him on the foot or the ankle. Hit him right on the toe.
Ouch.
Take another look at it. He's just trying to protect Trayvon, and then he gets hit on the toe by the breaking ball. He had no intentions of bunting. He was just trying to get the barrel of the bat out in front of the catcher to slow him down, as Trayvon looked like he had a good jump and would have been able to steal it.
So now 2 aboard, 2 outs, second inning, and 1-1 the score. Now Eric Wedge's club goes back to the top of the order, and Dustin Ackley. So an opportunity right here to break this deadlock. Ackley flied to left in the first inning. There's a strike. For the Mariners, this is game number 140 of the season. 140. And Dustin Ackley has made 133 starts. That's the most on this club. So we don't have an Ironman by any stretch of the imagination. No one's played every game. There's a ball, 1-1.
No, but I think it's a good point, because last year when Dustin was finishing up in September, there was a lot of talk about him running out of gas, being tired, his first time going through a season like he had last year. So this is a good test for him. Eric Wedge just put him out there and needed him in the lineup every day, and he's answered the bell.
1-2.
So we'll see how he finishes up the rest of this month.
And Eric Wedge not only interested in how his individual players, especially the young players, finish up, but very much interested in how his club finishes up, because they've had a great stretch since the All-Star break, but a lot of tough games here in the last 23, and it's now 2 balls, 2 strikes.
They're going to have Toronto, but other than that, all the other clubs are in playoff contention, trying to get to the postseason. So you're going to see their best in everything that they have, and the manager's trying to win every game, so they're not going to mess around with it.
The 2-2 chopped down the line. If it stays fair, it'll be a hit. Look at it, and oh, it finally goes foul. Pretty close.
It looked like it hit the line, stayed fair, and then for whatever reason, maybe it hit a foot mark or something and pushed it foul, because I thought that ball was going to stay fair and it would have been a base hit. You take a look at our McDonald's Supermo, and Dustin hits it down the line, takes off, he does the right thing, run right away, don't assume anything. So he's running hard, trying to beat it out, and it's on the grass.
He's going to run right on past it.
Well, there would not have been a play on him at all. The only thing that they could do.
Look at this. Now it turns a little bit. You think now it's going to stay fair, but you're right. Looked like it hit that foot imprint.
Yeah, there was a cleat mark there, and it ended up kicking it foul.
Wow.
And right about there, I thought it was going to stay fair.
But you can see that imprint right over the chalk there.
Yeah, a little divot.
That's what did it. So Ackley up there, 2-2. Hits the ball sharply, gobbled up by Pennington. on to Carter, and that retires the side, but the Mariners get a run, and it's 1-1 after 2.
Here as we head into the top of the third. Actually, it's Marineros today. Hi, everybody. Angie Mentink here at the Ford Sports Desk. Meantime, across the street, the Sounders giving it their full 90 against Chivas. In the 89th minute, Freddie Montero crosses over to Eddie Johnson, who heads it in for the goal. Johnson responsible for both of the Sounders' goal, and they win it 2-1 in our Sterling Bank score from the MLS. Ken.
All right, Angie, and I suppose you want me to roll the R.
That was pretty good, wasn't it?
Breaking pitch to Coco Crisp. Marineros. My college Spanish teacher would be thrilled. I think I got a D and 3 C's, and I was ecstatic.
So you passed.
I was ecstatic to get a C. Coco Crisp takes a fastball 1-1. It is salute to Latin American baseball game, baseball night here. So the Latin theme, thus the Marineros on the uniform fronts of the Mariners. Crisp spanks a grounder in the hole. Nice play, Ackley. And he throws to Smoke in plenty of time to retire Crisp. 1 down in the 3rd inning. And Diego Segui, by the way, threw out the first pitch. Speaking of Latin America.
You were there for it, weren't you?
The first game was at April 6th, 1977, across the street at the Kingdome. The Ancient Mariner threw the first pitch in Mariners history and had a decent year, and of course was with the Pilots at Old Six Stadium down the road in 69 when the Pilots were here for that one season. There's a strike to Smith. There's Diego. Good to see him again. The Ancient Mariner, Diego Segui.
He's still right over the top, isn't he?
Yeah.
Anybody that's seen the old footage of him throwing out that first pitch, he was right over the top. Did a good job tonight.
Seth Smith, a cut. First pitch was a ball. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. He was a real gentleman at that time. Of course, there were a lot of, I think it's fair to say, a number of cast-offs in the 77 Mariners, a lot of young players, and he was somewhat quiet, but very much a gentleman and very much someone that everybody looked up to, I think, on the club that first year of the Seattle Mariners. Seth Smith gets jammed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That was quite a season. We'd check into hotels. You'd go to the front desk. Of course, it wasn't, they didn't have, you'd have to go to the front desk. They didn't know you were coming. Nowadays, they have 8 people there to hand you your keys. We'd go in and we'd say something to the person at the front desk, and they go, "Oh, yeah, we have all the keys here for the Seattle Marines." No, it's not the Marines, ma'am. It's the Mariners. The who? Welcome. Seth Smith, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Marines. Believe me, that happened more than once, about half the time.
I'm sure.
We were the Marines. Good enough. Just happy to be in the American League and happy to have baseball back in the Pacific Northwest way back then.
Yeah, happy to have a hotel room, too, I
Yeah,
guess. Eventually you got there, right?
Seth flied to left in the first against Iwakuma. Bidding for win number 7 in his first season here in North America in the big leagues. This ball flared down the left field line. It'll go foul, 1 and 2. Well, that was an adventure, I'll tell you. And how great it was to work with Dave Niehaus. We had so much fun and had great times. We'd do TV. We obviously did a few less TV games back in '77 in those early years.
How many? Probably 30?
Oh,
40?
some we did 20, 22. And we might have gotten up to 30 in the first 5 or 6 seasons. You were probably too young to remember it or even watch them then, but it was fascinating because Dave and I would open up together on TV, and I would have taped the open on radio, and we did all the opens live on TV, so the radio open was on tape.
Anybody ever forget to push the button?
I hope not. There's a strike 3 called, and that is strikeout number 2 for Iwakuma. 2 down here in the inning. Well, it's a game dedicated entirely to you folks. Boy, what a night it's going to be. There's nothing quite like Fan Appreciation Night, and this year's is coming up on Friday the 21st. The M's are going to say thanks for your support this season with giveaways. Giveaways all game long. Some great prizes to win. Round-trip tickets from Alaska Airlines, Holland America Cruises, a big flat-screen TV, some autographed jerseys, and a whole lot more. It's going to be just a great night. So join the fun at Fan Appreciation Night. And when you pick up your tickets at Mariners.com, you can get a lot more information. That's Friday night, September 21st. The batter is Josh Reddick, and the count is 1-0. 2 down, nobody on in the A's third. The game is tied at 1. And the count is 2-0. We had on TV in those early years, we went through analysts or colormen like you never knew. We never, very rarely did, in the early days, did we have somebody do color on TV every game for the season.
Right.
It was highly infrequent. Here's a foul back and out of play. And then what would happen after Dave and I did the live open on TV, I'd run down the hall and run back into we had to be quick, run back into the radio booth and, okay, we're ready for the first pitch. And then Dave would run over in the third, then I'd run over to TV, and then Dave would run over.
Oh, you guys would just go back and forth.
We just went back and forth on TV and radio. The 2-1 pitch, and that's ripped foul. 2-2 on Reddick, the third hitter in the A's order. Boy, we had one of the owners, of course, was Danny Kaye,
right,
the great entertainer, worldly renowned entertainer. And he did a number of games with us. Lou Gorman was the general manager. He worked on TV for a number of games, believe it or not. And then we had Wes Stock and Mel Stottlemyre and Rico Petrocelli. Swing and a miss, and a host of others on those early TV games. Big inning for Iwakuma. Doesn't have to throw many pitches. shirts are all from our friends at Boeing. They're Boeing engineers enjoying Mariners baseball here at Safeco Field tonight.
A lot of them out here today.
Big group. First pitch is a strike to Franklin Gutierrez, who singled to left in the first inning. And Seager followed, made the second out on a deep fly to center. Franklin advanced to second and died there when Montero hit a fly ball to right. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. The A's got an unearned run. They got a run without a hit in the first inning. A walk to start the game to Coco Crisp sort of set that up. Then the Mariners got their run in the bottom of the second. Robinson hitting into a fielder's choice to drive in Saunders, who had doubled and advanced to third on an error. And now it's 1-2 on Gutierrez.
45 pitches for Anderson so far, 27 strikes. Really done a good job on his first pitch strikes. 11 batters, 9 first pitch strikes tonight.
That one doesn't miss by much. 2-2.
Take a look at our CenturyLink high-speed pitch. Anderson, 94 miles an hour. Good fastball for Iwakuma tonight at 93.
You got a strikeout with that 93-mile-per-hour fastball. Still 2-2 on Gutierrez. We mentioned he singled in the first, and during his first at bat, we talked about Gutierrez in his limited duty this season tearing up left-handed pitchers. He's now had 34 at bats this season against southpaws and has 15 hits, including all 3 of his home runs. So this is his bread and butter right here. And he laces this ball foul, and it remains 2-2. Gutierrez leading off, then Seager and Montero against Brett Anderson, who's a big kid. I mentioned kid. He's 24 years of age, 6'4", 235 pounds. Here's a lashed liner to right field. Digging into the corner is Reddick. A turn at first. Gutierrez will hold on. A strong throw into second base, and Franklin is 2 for 2 tonight against Brett Anderson.
You want to have success against left-handed pitching when you're a right-handed hitter. You have to be able to hit the ball the other way, and that's what Franklin does with 2 strikes. Hard line drive into right field. Thought about trying to stretch it into a double. Shut it down at first base. Reddick with a good arm in right field, but a good piece of hitting from Franklin Gutierrez.
Good point about Reddick in right field. He has 14 assists, and that's the second most in the American League this season. Here is Kyle Seager, who, as we mentioned, hit the ball deep to center his first at bat. This time he gets jammed, pops it up back over the screen and out of play. Talking about Brett Anderson, just his 4th start since coming off the DL from that Tommy John surgery, but his dad is what it's all about when you look at his background. His dad, a college coach all of his career, most recently at Oklahoma State. He was relieved of his duties in late May, but had a pretty good run at Oklahoma State. There's a strike, and it's 0-2. Frank Anderson, who had also been an assistant coach at Texas Tech in Texas before he got the Oklahoma State job. Spent 9 seasons there, and I mentioned got relieved of his duties, and is already signed as the pitching coach at the University of Houston. So that tells me that Brett might have learned a little bit of something about pitching from his dad, Frank.
That's safe to say.
Yeah, it's a good bet, isn't it?
Yeah. For Brett, coming off the Tommy John surgery, his 3 starts coming into this game, he hasn't reached 100 pitches yet. His high is 95. His last outing he threw 90 pitches.
Swing and a miss, and Seager is out of there, and that is the first strikeout for Brett Anderson. 1 down. Fans, follow the Mariners with the MLB.com @Bat12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry, and Windows Mobile. You get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and that's just the start. Text @Bat to 31826 or visit Mariners.com for details. Ken Wilson, Mike Blowers, and our great crew here at Safeco Field. 1-1 in the third, and Montero sends the grounder foul. 1 strike. Jesus flying to right in the first inning. That's a good job there. Ball girl, huh? Toughest part of it is by late in the game, you've run out of people to give the baseballs to.
No. All those kids will keep running up there trying to get it. I was a happy camper.
I was noticing last night down the right field side. Ball girl had to run about 25 feet to find a youngster that hadn't gotten the ball yet. I said, that's the way to go. Make sure the youngsters get their baseball. Easy toss to first. Gutierrez over there with 1 out. What a thrill to go to a big league baseball game, especially, and go home with a baseball. Huh? Wow. Up the middle. That's a base hit. Gutierrez with a play in front of him will hold on as Crisp gets the ball back in. And singles from Gutierrez and Montero here in the 3rd inning, and the Mariners are again in business. 3rd straight inning. They've had a runner at second. Got him in last inning. What will happen here?
4th base hit for the Mariners in the game. As you take a look at our McDonald's Supermo, and Montero, as we mentioned, it hit lefties well all year. This one hit hard right back up the middle, goes through the legs of Anderson. A solid base hit for Jesus Montero. That'll bring up Justin Smoak.
So the Mariners again have 2 on with 1 out, as they did last inning. And the batter Justin Smoak with the ground out to second, and he looks at the bender, a strike called. Justin has had 6 at bats against Brett Anderson and has 3 hits, so he's a good one to have up here in this spot. The A's playing it halfway around the infield, looking for a ground ball that would end the inning. Something soft for a strike. So Smoak's in an unenviable position here at the plate with a 2-strike count.
Only started him with 2 breaking balls. And the pattern for Justin is the soft breaking ball away. You can see just 78 miles an hour, and then they'll try to bust him in on his hands. Anderson also has the hard slider that he can use. The reason why I was mentioning his pitch count, the Mariners have done a good job of making him work. 56 pitches working here in the 3rd inning with just 1 out.
Yeah, that's a lot of pitches. Soft breaking ball, and that is strike 3 called. Smoak barking at the plate umpire Lance Barrett. And that is out number 2.
Take a look at this last pitch, see if it's down. It looked like Justin thought the pitch was down. They're not going to change the call now. Bring up Michael Saunders. Saunders, hard double over the head of the center fielder, Coco Crisp. His first time up. Michael has scored the 1 run for the Mariners tonight.
So let's see if Saunders can deliver again and break this 1-1 tie here in the 3rd inning. Slow curve, 1 strike.
In our open today, we're showing the numbers for the Mariners and their struggles to score runs, and a big part of them this year is they've been streaky at times, and there it is, runners in scoring position 0 for 5 tonight, so they need somebody to come up with a big base hit for them. But that's been kind of the issue for them, that at times they'll get into some pretty good streaks, but for the most part, hitting with runners in scoring position has been tough on them, and you kind of expect that because they're such a young club, and that's an area that they're really going to have to improve on next year.
Mariners run last inning coming on a fielder's choice off the bat of Robinson. They go to the 3rd base umpire Jim Joyce. He says no, he didn't swing. He checked his swing. 1 and 2.
See if he can lay off of this breaking ball. Jim Joyce thought so. Said he did not go, so he'll get another chance. Anderson was trying to work his slider off the plate away to Michael, and he was able to get a couple of them there. He fouled them off, and then eventually he hung one in the middle of the plate on an 0-2 pitch and hit it hard to center field.
Ground ball, the first baseman Carter. He'll do it himself. A couple of hits, but no runs, and after 3, it's tied 1-1.
tied at 1 apiece. Hi, everybody. Angie Bentinck here at the Ford Sports Desk. Meantime, the AL West leading Rangers taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Each game for both these teams get bigger and bigger. Josh Hamilton absolutely abusing this baseball. A 2-run shot to center. That's the 40th time he's done that this year. And then look at this. Whoa! In the 6th, gets drilled in the shoulder by Chris Archer. Maybe a little pee-back? I don't know. Hamilton didn't seem to care. 4-2 is the way it ends. Maybe that's because they won. Ken?
Thank you very much, Angie. Boy, what a wild card race, huh? The American League. Oakland, Baltimore, Tampa, Bay, L.A., Detroit. Detroit might have the best club of those 5, Mike. I'm not sure.
I still think they're going to win the Central. I know that you were just in Detroit. You had a chance to go to the ballpark there. I like the Tigers' chance.
I saw them a week ago tonight at Comerica play the White Sox. I had not been to Comerica, and I was in the neighborhood, so put it on the schedule, as we say. Here is Cespedes. He rips one to left. That's a hit. He'll be thinking second base. He's on his way. Robinson has a shot. The throw, not in time. A 4th inning leadoff double for Yoenis Cespedes, and he's 1 for 2 tonight.
Along with having power, he also has good speed. Again, another pitch. He hits this one off the end of the bat. He did that his first time up. Trayvon gets over in good shape. An accurate throw into second, but he goes in standing up. Leadoff double for Cespedes.
So the A's have the leadoff man aboard with the game tied at 1. And here's the rookie first baseman, Chris Carter.
You went into Comerica. Did you see any Tigers?
Wow.
They have them all over the place, don't they?
That's well branded. You know you're in Tigers country. There's a foul back. In a few days we had some business in Michigan, which is where I'm from, so I took all the available youngsters and my wife. And I think she was thinking, we never go anywhere without going to a ballpark. And I go, well, you know, that's just the way it is. When you go somewhere with me, you go to a ballpark.
Summertime, right?
Right. Doesn't it? You know, it doesn't even have to have a game going on, but we're going to go to the ballpark. That's just the way we do it. Chris Carter grounds the ball to short. The runner holds. Brendan Ryan's throw in plenty of time. Carter's the first out here in the A's 4th inning.
Good job by Iwakuma. Looked like Carter on the first swing was trying to hit the ball the other way. Took a lot off of that breaking ball. He was out in front of it. Gets him to pull it and keep the runner at second. 55 pitches, 37 strikes.
Talking with his skipper, Eric Wedge, before the game as Stephen Drew digs in. He said, you know, we really need a good start tonight from Iwakuma. He says this is really an important game for us, and it's really an important outing for him. And Eric is really intent on getting a lot of wins the rest of the way. And there's ball 1.
Well, yeah, I think it's important. Mariners coming into this one 5 games under 500, although you don't hear him talking about it much. I know that's a goal that they would like to reach, not just Eric, but I think the entire club. They've played better at home. So coming into this game, they're 2 games over 500 at home. That's an advantage. And I think for Eric, the one thing that he has talked about, and he's been real consistent about it here in the second half.
There goes the runner. The pitch, a ball, the throw, not in time. And Cespedes goes in head first, and he is at third with 1 out. Of course, we've talked about the fact he has good speed.
He has good speed, and that takes care of Carter not able to move him over. And he may start his slide, that head first slide, out about as far as anybody that I've seen. We saw him do it last night when Eric Thames threw him out at third. It's a great throw by Eric, but he takes that dive really early, almost slows him down a little bit.
That's 15 stolen bases for Cespedes. Now the infield pulled in and off the glove of Ackley. The ball into shallow right. Here comes Cespedes. He'll score. And that makes it 2-1 Oakland as Drew gets himself a base hit and picks up his 6th RBI since coming to the American League from the Diamondbacks.
Infield in. It's hit hard at Ackley's left, and you can see him go down, try to grab it. It goes off the end of his glove.
Boy, that stolen base.
Yep.
Speed, speed, speed. What an asset. Besides getting the extra base, you're always putting pressure on the opposition. Always.
Well, when you're stealing bases, you get your infielders moving around. It creates holes. By him getting to third, obviously they bring the infield up. If Ackley had been playing back, he makes that play. It's a routine ground ball, and then he moves up to third, but he doesn't score.
Exactly. Now here's Josh Donaldson. Little slow roller. Ryan goes to second with a stumble and is fortunate to make the play to retire Drew. So it goes Ryan to Ackley, and on the fielder's choice, Donaldson is safe at first base. Let's take a look at the Mariners calendar now, brought to you by Sleep Country USA. Boy, some big games coming up for the Mariners. The final 23, and you see that you finish up tomorrow here, then on to Toronto and Texas. Then it ends up with 3 with Baltimore here, 3 with Texas.
It's tough. It's a tough schedule.
It is a tough road the rest of the way, our Sleep Country calendar. Now the batter is the catcher, George Coteras. It's 2-1 Oakland here in the 4th, and there's strike 1. You've got Drew at first, or I should say, excuse me, you've got Donaldson at first with 2 down.
And here you can see Brendan Ryan stubs his toe. Still able to get the throw to second base. Looked like he was going to fall down, able to keep his footing and get the lead out at second.
So Donaldson at first, 2 down, a 1-strike count on Gutierrez. The ball gets away from Montero, and that'll allow Donaldson to move up. That's a wild pitch, charged to Iwakuma. And again, you've got a case here where you give up a base, put the runner in scoring position, and you start putting that happening together with the other team taking a base, and all of a sudden you're in a situation with some regularity you really don't want to be in.
Well, and the hard part with it too, as we were showing it with the A's, they've been hot as far as scoring runs, over 5 runs a game since the break, and you don't want to continue to give them opportunities to drive in runs.
2 down, runner at second. Iwakuma, that long stare, and the off-speed pitch ripped to right. Saunders back, and it is gone. Last night a 3-run homer. Tonight a 2-run homer for George Coteras, and in his last 5 games the A's catcher has smashed 4 home runs and driven in 13. He has the hot stick, and that all of a sudden makes it 4-1 Athletics.
A mistake by Iwakuma. It's an off-speed pitch. It was an off-speed pitch that he hit out last night. This is a line drive. He just ropes this ball into the seats in right field. 76 miles an hour. That's how you score over 5 runs a game. You get contributions from everybody up and down the lineup, including the bottom part of it, which is Coteras, the number 8 hitter in the lineup for the A's.
A strike to Cliff Pennington, 376 feet on that home run. Some home runs are 330 feet. Some are 440 feet. Some outs are 385 feet. Depends where you hit it. And he hit it in a good spot. So last night, his home run took it from 1-1 to 4-1. Tonight he comes up just after his club breaks a 1-1 tie at 2-1 and jumps it to 4-1. Boy, does that change the complexion in a hurry.
Well, that's exactly what happened last night with Felix on the mound. And here we are again, Iwakuma, who's been a hot pitcher, a hot starter for the Mariners. Working out too well for him here early in the game.
Iwakuma, his last 5 starts, 4-0, and the Mariners have won each and every one of those starts. But down 4-1 in the 4th tonight. That ball just hits the bat into the crowd, 1-2. Of course, Iwakuma, really an outstanding career in Japan as he faces Cliff Pennington, and then coming over in spring training to the Mariners, and I think they all wondered, what do we have here? Because there's no question he was a huge disappointment from what they saw in the spring. Ground ball up the middle, and Pennington has the 4th Oakland hit here in the 4th inning. So he is now 5 for 6 in the first 2 games of this series.
Carl Willis, the pitching coach, going to come out and have a conversation with Iwakuma. Try to settle him down. 4 base hits in this inning, including the home run to Contreras. It was also a double by Cespedes to start it off. And he's had to throw some pitches. He's up 67 pitches working here in the 4th.
Eric Wedge talking about Iwakuma in his office before the game, and I said, quite different now than what we were looking at in Arizona. He just shrugged his head and rolled his eyes, and he says, I really think that we've handled him very well this season. He said, especially considering that he had some injuries last season in Japan, a little elbow trouble, a little shoulder trouble. And I think that Eric and Carl Willis deserve a lot of credit to get Iwakuma to where he's been lately compared to where he was way back in March.
Well, you said it too. If you think about it, in spring training and how rough a spring that he had, you almost forgot he was on the club in April. They didn't use him at all. Well, in that time, you get a guy that starts to work through some problems, some issues that he's had. And he's out there with Jamie Navarro in the bullpen, and he could throw more pens and work on things. So when they finally needed him, he's been there.
Coco Crisp, the batter, and that's strike 1. Yeah, he's become very valuable to this club.
Well, and so that's goes back to what you were saying. I would agree. I think that Eric and Carl and Jamie Navarro deserve a lot of credit for what they've done with him this year.
Iwakuma, MVP in Japan back in 2008 when he won 21 games. Keeping an eye on the runner at first, Cliff Pennington. Well, we've seen so many Japanese pitchers rather late in their career come over here to North America, and many of them highly heralded, being taken care of financially very well. But the result, I think you would say, has been somewhat mixed. 2 outs. Good pitch. 0-2 the count on Crisp.
It's been a struggle for Daisuke Matsuzaka in Boston. I had the opportunity to play with Nomo and Hideo Nomo in Los Angeles, and I thought he was terrific for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Kuroda with the Yanks, we've seen him this year. He's been sensational this year coming over to the American League. 1 ball, 2 strikes. But I would think it's always been a tough transition for American players to go to Japan. I would think it is equally difficult for the Japanese to come here. I think it would be very, very tough, especially the first year. 1-2 the count. The runner goes, the ball slashed out into right center, and that's going to get down. Here comes Pennington to third. They're going to wave him in, and into second base with a double goes Coco Crisp, picking up his 40th RBI of the season. It's a 4-run 4th inning for the Oakland A's, and they lead 5-1.
Hell yeah, Penny!
And it's another off-speed pitch from Iwakuma. Pitch middle of the plate. It's down, but Coco's able to slash it into right center. Pennington with good speed, able to come all the way around. You look at our McDonald Supermo and the swing by Coco Crisp. Been swinging the bat much better for the A's, moving back into the leadoff spot. He was hitting third at the start of the year. Now that he's leading off, things have gotten much better for him.
So Crisp at second, 4 in and 2 outs. The 8th hitter up in the inning is the designated hitter Seth Smith, who is 0 for 2. 1 strike. The last time you and I did television together, as you look at Caps in the bullpen, was last September. And I remember that when the game was over, I was in the middle of asking you about Japan, and I never got quite to it. So, I have a long memory. It's been a year, but I'm going to make sure I get the story from you here before this night is out, certainly. Iwakuma with a runner at second, and now it's 1-1. Was it a tough transition?
Yes, yeah. It is, and I think it's different. And for myself, you've been playing in the big leagues, and then for me to go over there, it's totally different, including the brand of baseball and the size of baseball that they use. So it's difficult. But then all of a sudden, I can't even imagine going the other way and the Japanese players coming over here and trying to have success against, quite frankly, the best players in the world.
So you're saying when you go from the big leagues to Japan, you're going sort of on a downhill slope. When you come from Japan to the major leagues here, it's an uphill slope.
Well, I suppose I'm biased, but I think these are the best players in the world here at the major league level in the United States. So I think that it would have to be more difficult to deal with that.
Right.
And the style of baseball is different for them too. So they're dealing with a lot. Not to mention the language barrier and the cultures and everything else as Coco Crisp walks into third.
So he has his 33rd stolen base, the third highest stolen base total in the league this season, and the count's 2-2 on Smith.
And the pitch count continues to mount for Iwakuma again, just in the fourth inning. 75 pitches now for him, 50 strikes. His ratio is good, but just too many pitches.
2-2 the count. And that doesn't miss by much, 3-2. So either way, it's difficult going from Japan to here, or from here to Japan. Nowadays, it seems like you get a lot of sort of veteran AAA players that end up going to Japan, although that was true in the past. I can't recall a whole lot of big leaguers now ending up going to Japan. I know it still happens, but it seems
not very often anymore.
Yeah, not as often as it used to. You don't see a Prince, or I should say a Cecil Fielder type going to Japan. There's ball 4, and we're getting close to the end for Hisashi Iwakuma. That's the second walk he's given up. He has struck out a total of 3 tonight. Cap's working in the bullpen. So runners at first and second. Montero will pick up some delay by going out to the mound.
Well, that's what he's doing right now. He's just trying to buy some time. Typically, you'll get a sign from the dugout. Carter hasn't been up, so I doubt that he's ready to go. He's trying to get ready in a hurry out there, but they're trying to buy him some time.
So Caps will be coming in soon. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced nor retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. So Eric Wedge makes the call to the bullpen. Carter Capps will come in here in the fourth inning.
Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Northern Quest Casino, Spokane's newest destination resort. By Pizza Hut. Say goodbye to boring with the Pizzolo. 2 for $5 only at your Pizza Hut. Make it great. And by your local Lexus dealers who invite you to test drive a Lexus today. Ken, Mike, I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to see blue skies like this.
Well, we've had them for a lot of days, haven't we? Boy, the weather has been just great for so long. But I think there's some clouds and rain coming. It's okay. That's part of life here in the Pacific Northwest.
That's why it's so green, right?
That's right. That's why we like it so much. Here's Carter Capps taking over.
Carter's numbers on the year: 4.91 ERA for Carter, 13 strikeouts to 7 walks. He's pitched 11 innings so far. Still trying to work on his slider. His fastball to be in the upper 90s. Will hit 100. every now and then.
Here's Josh Reddick, and he fouls this one back. That was a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. Reddick 0 for 2 tonight. I mentioned how he's been battling it. So including tonight, over his last 7 games, only 2 hits in his last 25 at-bats. A's have scored 4 here in the 4th to lead 5-1. 2 down, runners at first and third. Reddick, the big RBI guy, swings and misses 0-2. They just barely tipped it. We've got Crisp over at third. Smith is at first base. Smoke holding him there.
The A's so far tonight 2 for 5 with runners in scoring position.
This one foul back. That breaking pitch tight, and it remains 0-2. Reddick grew up in Georgia. Capps grew up in North Carolina. Reddick grew up as an Atlanta Braves fan. Fake move there by Capps. I guess if you grow up in Georgia, you're going to be an Atlanta Braves fan. Of course, with the Superstation, they had so many years sort of dominating television, baseball. You ended up getting a lot of Braves fans beyond Georgia in the Southeast. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Reddick. Reddick's got to be pretty happy about his power year, 28 homers. I know a lot of people were saying coming into this season that he's a real strong hitter, but his power is only average. Well, he's shown them that he's got better than average power. 2-2.
I think he's one of the big reasons why, and if you had to pick an MVP, he would probably be it for the Athletics this year. I had a chance to watch him with Boston. I liked him as a player, but I have to admit, for him to go to 30 home runs, which he's on his way to this year, it was a bit surprising.
The 2-2 pitch. Oh, and he gets him with a breaking pitch. Great pitch. Good job by Capps to come in and get a strikeout. 9 come to the plate. 4 runs, 5 hits for the A's. The 4th inning, trailing 4-1. Ken Wilson along with Mike Flowers. Great to have you here. The pen out there in left center field at Safeco. Bottom third of the order, Olivo, Robinson, and Ryan against Anderson. And it's ball 1. Iwakuma goes 3 2/3. Gives up 5 runs, 6 hits, walks 2, strikes out 3. This one will go out of play. A ball and a strike on Miguel. Again, key as you look at Anderson, he's not going to go 9 likely, just because of the fact he's not pitched that much since coming back from the surgery. So you're going to see the A's bullpen.
Which they have some guys that can pitch out there too. The Mariners have already seen that. But for Anderson, he's really been a thorn in their side for a number of years now. And coming off of Tommy John surgery, he's pitched well, 3-0 with an 0.90 ERA coming into the game. He has yet to throw 100 pitches. His next pitch will be 65 for him in the game.
Olivo back in the second was safe on an error. The inning in which the Mariners scored. This one hit very well to center. Chris back in front of the 405 marker, makes the catch. So Olivo hits the ball over 400 feet. But in most ballparks, when you do that to straightaway center, you don't get the home run.
It looked like Coco Crisp maybe lost sight of this for a second. See the drive by Olivo. He makes the catch up against the fence.
Coco Crisp, one of the great names in the game. Here's Trayvon Robinson, hit into the force out, takes a strike. That was back in the second, driving in the run. Spent most of the year with the Tacoma Rainiers in the Pacific Coast League, the Mariners AAA farm team. They're in close on the corners for Trayvon, and he fouls this one out of play and finds himself in the hole 0-2.
We're talking about the American League Central. Chicago winners tonight. They beat Kansas City 5-4 in Chicago, but the Tigers right now in the 6th inning against the Angels, losing 6-1.
Tigers a game back of the White Sox, and the count's 1-2. That's quite a race in the Central, obviously. The race in the East, Yankees, Baltimore game back, Tampa 2 back going into play today. And of course, Texas leading the West Division 4.5 over Oakland. 3 really good races.
The East right now is all tied up, as you mentioned. Baltimore a game back, but they beat New York in Baltimore 5-4.
Yeah. We'll see Baltimore here on the next homestand. That's how it looks right now.
The Mariners have an opportunity to inflict some pain on them.
Mariners are going to have a lot to say about the West. Something to say about the East with the 3 with Baltimore. Over the National League, you've got 3 races that are pretty shaky in terms of calling them races. 2-2. Looks like Washington will win the East. Cincinnati would win the Central. The Giants the West. The Dodgers are within a shot. The Cardinals a long shot. And Atlanta pretty distant behind Washington. Swing and a miss. The ball dropped. Gutierrez will throw to first. Robinson strikes out. The play completed 2-3, and they're 2 down. Well, Big Sky football kicks off Saturday the 22nd here on Root Sports, presented by your local Ford dealers. Live action gets started with Northern Arizona taking on the Montana Grizzlies at 12:30. Your new home for Big Sky football, Root Sports. Races, races, races. That's what makes it so fun. And the wild card makes it even more interesting with a couple of teams going in.
You mentioned Atlanta and St. Louis, both of them on top of the wild card races. Pittsburgh trying to hang in there. They've been playing well lately.
Dodgers trying to hang in also in that NL wild card race.
Pittsburgh loses again tonight.
The batter, Brendan Ryan, the count 2-0. Brendan hit by a pitch his first time up. 5-1. The Mariners trail, facing Brett Anderson here in the 4th. Out of play, 2-1. Boy, it seems like the last few seasons there's just been some fabulous races. We have a little mist coming down from a rare cloud above. Here's a ground ball sharply to short. Drew gobbles it up. And on to first. The Mariners go 1, 2, 3. Through 4 innings, 5-1 Oakland.
To the fifth. Hi, everybody. Angie Mentink here at the Ford Sports Desk. Meantime, the Tigers tracking in the AL Central. The Angels, after one of those wild card slots in the first inning of their game together, Mike Trout leads off the Angels and sends a solo shot to left. The Angels scored 4 runs in the first inning. Our Sterling Banks score in Anaheim, 6-1 in the 6th. Guys?
Thank you very much, Angie. The wild card standings as Cespedes leads off. What a logjam that is. Now remember, if 2 teams tie at the end of the season for first place in a division, then they play a 1-game playoff.
Right.
Obviously, one of them will end up with a wild card spot. Here's Brendan Ryan gliding and slinging, and he's a dandy. Cespedes is gone. He runs well, so Brendan knows I get anything with him, I've got to be snappy, and there's 1 down.
Well, for Brendan, he has a strong arm, and he can throw basically from any position. Typically, he'll throw from where he fields it. That's exactly what he did on that play.
He's fun to watch, isn't he?
He's been really good this year. And my hope is that he wins a Gold Glove. We'll wait and see.
I know you were talking about it last night, and they're not that easy to win. Breaking pitch from Carter Capps outside to Chris Carter, ball 1, and a lot of it has to do, in many cases, I'm not saying necessarily this year, but the history. Somebody has a reputation,
sure.
Or you
Hard to get it from them,
or you get a player that's got a little offense, and
right.
they kind of say, well, he's kind of more of an all-arounder, and it's a toss-up, so you have trouble there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's tough, but if you look at all the different numbers, he should be right there.
Carter is struck out and grounded to short. Capps in his first full inning, and a dandy breaking ball there. 1-2.
Took a lot off of that pitch, 84 miles an hour after a fastball at 99.
Now they're closing the roof. We had a little mist. It's been, 50 or 51 days since we have seen rain. And there haven't been many days where we've seen clouds. Another breaking ball, 2-2. So they are closing the roof here at Safeco Field in the 5th inning, with the A's leading 5-1, and the base is empty and 1 out. Carter's been hitting well lately, over 300 for almost a month, and he's out of there. So he's 0 for 3 tonight. And Capps, Mike Blowers, has come on and retired 3 in a row, 2 via the strikeout.
And that last one was a tough one, 100 miles an hour right on the outside corner. The hitter, there's not much you can do with it.
That's the old take a bow and take a turn.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you. So Capps, first experience in the big leagues here at 22 years of age, will face Stephen Drew, who is 1 for 2, drove in a run with a base hit last inning when the A's got 4. And there is ball 1.
I know that Montero wasn't able to handle it, but that pitch was right down the middle.
When the pitch goes to the backstop, probably ought to be a ball, even if it's in the strike zone.
There you go. Take a look at where that last pitch was at.
That's 2-0 on Drew.
There you go. 2 fastballs. Good pitches. That's Barrett. Not helping Carter out at all.
That's a strike. No? Now where's that one? Is that high?
I don't think it was high.
So it's outside.
It's on the corner according to the tracer.
If I was pitching, I'd at least like the count to be 2-1 here. Not 3-0. I mean, give me something, please. How about that one? There you go. Three and 0, you don't have to have a real good strike to get a strike. You've got to be just in the neighborhood. Back to the screen, and it's 3-2. So Capps has had every pitch right there in the neighborhood, the 5 that he has thrown to the hitter Stephen Drew. Look at that.
They're all in the strike zone, every one of them.
See what he throws. 3-2. This will be interesting. Throws the fastball at 98 miles per hour and misses. So Drew is the first base runner against Capps.
Throws one ball and ends up walking the guy.
That's hard to do, but we just saw it, folks.
Yes, sir.
Seeing is believing. That'll bring up Josh Donaldson, who has a single, and he's hit into a force out. Donaldson has been up and down from Sacramento in the Coast League this season. He looks at strike one. You recall Scott Sizemore was due to be the A's third baseman this season. He got injured in spring training, and it's been kind of a merry-go-round there. And Donaldson has held the post lately and has been red hot now in the last 9 games.
I believe he took over when Brandon Inge ended up getting hurt. Yeah. Brandon was their regular third baseman.
It's not been a stable position for them by any means. They had Eric Sogard playing there when the season started. 1-2. Of course, that was way back in Tokyo late in March. This A's team has been a club that's had all sorts of turnover after last season, during this season, some of it forced by injuries, other situations. They've made deals, and still, you know, they're sitting at 77 and 60. They won 74 games last season. They're in a pennant race.
Look, they make a trade over the winter. They get Reddick. He's leading their club in home runs and RBIs. And then lately, they make a trade. They get Gutierrez, and look at the tear that he's on since showing up.
Swing and a miss. Oh, the high, hard one at 99 miles per hour. 3 strikeouts early for Caps. Mariners won. The roof is just about closed now here at Safeco Field. Now, we're not talking about a downpour, folks. We're talking about still quite a bit of blue sky, but a kind of a funny looking dark cloud. I almost didn't recognize it. Produced a little bit of rain, and I wouldn't even say it was rain. It was a few raindrops, mist, drizzle. So just to be safe, they'll close the roof. Ackley leading off here in the 5th. And it's 2-0 as he faces Brett Anderson, who has allowed the 1 run on 4 hits.
Well, you mentioned the weather. It's been spectacular this summer. Glad to see the roof is still working. They haven't had to use it in a while.
Swing and a miss, 2-1. What a stadium this is. What a great ballpark.
I have to wonder, Diego Segui today, throwing the first pitch out for the Mariners in the Kingdome, what he thought of when he came into this place.
Well, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just about there.
This is comfortable. This ballpark is comfortable. Bouncer off the edge of the glove and off the edge of the glove of Drew. So that's an edge of the glove base hit for Ackley leading off here in the 5th inning. Well, time now for our AT&T trivia question. Who was the last Oakland Athletics pitcher to win the Cy Young Award? Wow. Dennis Eckersley, of course, at one time was a starter with the A's and the Cubs, but ended up a reliever. Barry Zito, we know him. Tim Hudson, Bob Welch, the Eastern Michigan product, the right-hander who pitched, for a while for the Dodgers. That's a tough question for me, Mike. Some of the trivia questions I can nail. That's not one.
That's a tough one. I am going to go with Hudson.
Tim Hudson.
Tim Hudson.
Well, I want to say this. If we're confident that Tim Hudson won a Cy Young Award, it would be Tim Hudson. Although it could be, in terms of chronology, it could be Barry Zito.
I'm just taking a guess. You don't need to follow me.
Gutierrez, 1 ball, 1 strike. All of them won Cy Young Awards. Not all of them did. Oh, I'm sorry. So Eckersley, Zito, Hudson, Welsh. Not all of them won Cy Young Awards. And we want to know who was the last A's pitcher, the most recent, to win the Cy Young Award. Gutierrez has singled twice. They keep an eye on Ackley, who has good speed at first, as the M's are down by 4. 82 pitches now for Brett Anderson. Yeah, I'd like to tell you.
You're going to have to make a decision here. You don't get to stall it out. No. I mean, you're going to have to pick something.
We're not giving the answer in the 9th inning? The answer soon?
Well, eventually they're going to get the answer. We have the fans voting. I've voted. The fans are waiting on your vote.
I know. And the longer I wait to vote, the longer the fans stick with us.
Now you're assuming that they're going to follow you.
I'll be honest. I'm clueless. I'm ashamed to say it, but I'm clueless. Okay, there's the early fan voting, Barry Zito. And you're gone with Tim Hudson.
Strong for Barry Zito at 50%.
Yeah. Well, so, you
might want to follow them.
There's been plenty of time to, check with modern technology. There's a strike called, and the count on Gutierrez is 2-2. Yeah, I'm going to go with my friends. I'm a follower, not a leader, obviously. At least I'm smart enough to follow when I know I shouldn't be in the lead.
Well, just so you know, too, Curtis keeps track of these, and your vote tonight is going on Dave Sims' ledger. So I don't know if that puts any extra pressure on you.
Not a bit, actually.
Okay.
2-2 on Gutierrez. Well, I know that our fans here in the Pacific Northwest are smart. And I know that, we're pretty good compared with the rest of the country in using the modern technology. So I think it must be Barry Zito. Swing and a foul, and out of there is Gutierrez. He strikes out, the first out here in the 5th inning. Now my phone's ringing. What does that mean?
Somebody trying to help you.
Somebody's trying to help me. And my gosh, do I need help. Oh, I got a new message.
That'll bring up Kyle Seager. Kyle 0 for 2. Flew out to center field. Also had a strikeout swinging.
So Seager, the 3rd hitter in the order. Ackley at first, 1 out. Third baseman Donaldson is even with a bag. And that's a ball. See, my son texted me. But at least my son is smart enough to know that he owes me. So he's trying to help me here. He's trying to help me. He's probably going, Dad, don't tell them that I'm trying to help you. You're supposed to know this without any assistance. But our fans have said Zito. My son says Zito. So it's Barry Zito.
I think that's probably a good choice.
Yeah, I think so.
Well done, Ken.
Oh, it was hard, but I followed, stayed in line. Breaking pitch, 2-0 on Kyle Seager.
87 pitches now for Brett Anderson, so his pitch count's getting up there. Still nobody throwing in the A's bullpen.
Outfield shades to left on Seager, who's really had a big year all around for the Mariners, and he grounds it foul. Think about it. When the season started, or at least when the club went to spring training, Kyle Seager was in the mix. He was in the mix.
In the mix. That's all it was.
Could he be a backup infielder? Do you want him to play here? Do you want him to play every day in Tacoma? Meanwhile, on the other side here, the A's had a kid named Cespedes, who they knew was going to probably be their cleanup hitter all year. Cespedes 16 homers. Seager 16 homers. Cespedes 65 RBIs. Seager 78. And he belts this to right center on the run. Reddick, and he makes a nice catch. And that's the second out of the inning, and Ackley dashes back to first base.
It's a fastball inside, 92 miles an hour, and it jams Kyle a little bit as he hits it out to right center. And because it jams him, it just hangs in the air and gives Reddick enough time to run underneath it. Well, he had a chance to fall in between the two outfielders, but good speed from Reddick to run it down.
So 2 down, Montero the batter. So when I look at Seager's run production, there's ball 1, and I look at Cespedes' run production, looks to me it's about equal. They're both young players. Granted, Cespedes is, hitting 290 or so. But that's pretty impressive to me for Seager. Nobody's surprised by Cespedes, to be sure. They might even be a little disappointed. Here's a liner to left, and Cespedes has to play it on a bounce. Second hit of the night for Montero with that 7-game hitting streak. 11 hits over the last 7 games, and runners at first and second with 2 down.
Well, I think what you're talking about is what it all boils down to is Kyle's going to finish upper teens probably in home runs and has a chance to drive in 90.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good first year.
Pretty impressive.
I think so. Bring up Justin Smoke. Smoke 0 for 2 tonight. The Mariners again 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. So they're dying for somebody to come up with a big base hit for him to get him back in the game.
Long ball, long ball, long ball. That would be helpful. Smoke is club 14 homers, and he takes a strike. You look at a young player and you say, look at what Seager's done. You said, this fella is a 20 to 25 home run man each year, and he's going to drive in 85 to 100. I like him. I'll take him on my team. I'll find a place for him to play. In the hole, nice play. Donaldson, he wheels and throws to first, and Smoke is gone, robbed of a hit. The Mariners lead 2 here in the 5th inning.
Hi, everybody. Angie Mentink here at the Ford Sports Desk. And Root Sports is your new home for Big Sky football. So with that in mind, we check in on the conference in Eastern Washington, playing the Cougs, and WSU squeaks past the Eastern Eagles 24-20. Jeff Toole 20 of 26 for 171 yards, threw a pair of touchdown passes, but Toole had to leave the game early with a right leg injury. The Portland State Vikings were at North Dakota, and Portland State scored 13 points in the fourth quarter for a late surge, but North Dakota holds off the Vikings 45-37. And Montana travels to Appalachian State to face the Mountaineers. Grizz quarterback Trent McKinney threw for 307 yards and 3 TDs. But it's not enough. Mountaineers pull it out 35-27. Remember, Big Sky football kicks off Saturday, September 22nd, right here on Root Sports. Northern Arizona taking on the Montana Grizzlies at 12:30. Guys?
Thanks, Angie. Big 2-run homer in the fourth for this fella, George Kateris. That took a 2-1 game to 4-1. The A's scored 4 in the fourth when they batted around. And Capps now 1-1 on Contreras, the 8th hitter in the order. Pennington on deck, then the leadoff man Crisp here in the 6th inning. Capps making his 10th appearance since being called up from the minors, and he nips the outside corner 1-2.
Take a look at the home run and off speed pitch for Iwakuma. It's a line drive into the seats in right. Terrace last 2 nights, a 3-run homer last night, and then that 2-run home run tonight.
Swing and a miss. He's out of there. That's 4 strikeouts in an inning and 2/3 for Carter Capps.
98-mile-an-hour fastball. Throws that fastball belt high. It's going to be tough for him to catch up to it. Looking forward to watching him next year when he gets a little bit better feel for his slider.
Yeah, he's impressive. Here's Cliff Pennington, 1 out of 2 tonight, and the time he was retired, he sent Robinson deep in left field. There's a strike. Carter Capps now, in his 10 appearances, now this is including tonight, has pitched 12 2/3 innings in the big leagues. 12 2/3. Struck out 15 and given up 12 hits.
And that's primarily throwing fastballs. Tonight he's been right around 80% fastball. So his fastball is electric. Again, he's hit 100 miles an hour a number of times tonight. If he mixes that breaking ball a little bit more, comes up with a split that he can use. Difficult.
Good fastball down at 98 miles per hour. He's thrown 30 pitches here in relief of Iwakuma, who went 3 2/3. So you got Capps, who throws hard. He's got a lot of promise. You got Stephen Pryor, who can bring it. You got Tom Wilhelmsen, who has developed into a nice closer. You know, you go back a year with him and you were kind of wondering. Charging Seager, nice play, and the throw in plenty of time. 2 up, 2 down. Well, Banner Bank building to the future, talking about the future. How about Mike Zunino? This is the, you know, of all the youngsters, and most of them are pitchers, here's the fellow that might be the leader of this club for many, many seasons.
Well, I think that's the hope. First round pick for the Mariners. He's played extremely well this year. You can see what he did in 15 games. Jackson hit .333, and then in the playoffs last night, a couple of home runs for him.
Our friends up in Everett getting a chance to see him in the Northwest League. Swing and a foul off the bat of Coco Crisp. Mike Zunino, #1 pick of the Mariners, top of the draft there out of the University of Florida. Lots of tools, lots of ability, and I think most people think the best part of his game might be his head. He's that kind of player.
Well, I think he'll definitely be in spring training next year, looking to try to make a club.
Yeah. Well, when you've got such strong pitching at the big league level as the Mariners do, and so many good young pitchers or great young pitchers coming, you really want the great young catcher to go with them. So it looks like that package is all going to be coming together here.
Well, I think the hope for Zunino is once he gets here, whenever that is, and we don't know, that he's here for a long period of time. It's a difficult position to try to fill, and to have somebody that you can consistently have in your organization for a long time. The Mariners have been fortunate in that regard. They've had some good ones here. Dave Valley was here for a long time, and of course Dan Wilson, who went into the Mariners Hall of Fame this year.
Capps working 2-1 on Crisp, and it is 3-1. Boy, finding a good everyday kid catcher who can do it behind the plate and can give you some offense and is a leader and can play 10 to 15 years, they're just few and far between. That's a foul ball, 3-2.
Sounds like you're talking about Thurman Munson or Johnny Bench.
Yeah, those are the kinds of guys they had in Oakland. You look at this Oakland club. As you look at Sean Kelly in the pen, they had Terry Steinbach for a stretch, who, you know, gave him a little pop and was a leader. You know, a pretty brainy catcher. Did a nice job behind the plate. And that's the kind of fellow I'm talking about. Or above that with a Johnny Bench or a Thurman Munson. Up the middle, and that one will be grabbed by Ackley, off balance, thrown out in time. A 2-out infield single for Coco Crisp, who's had a nice night, a single, a double, and a walk, going 2 for 3.
Coco just trying to put it in play, and that's what he does. Once it gets by Carter, not much of a chance for Ackley. Great effort, but with the speed of Coco Crisp, he beats that out easy. That's an infield hit.
I'd like to have a list of all the big-time #1 catchers right in front of me, but when I look down the way here, I see Ray Fosse, who was
pretty good.
That kind of player with Cleveland and with Oakland. You can go back to Bill Freehan, who was in the American League. Guys that play, give you a big-time 10 to 12 years, have some all-star seasons. Carlton Fisk. And they're real, that element of being a real leader. If your catcher can be the leader, that really helps.
That helps a lot.
We're missing a lot of them, obviously.
Oh,
lots
of course.
Lots
there are.
We go to Yogi Berra and Roy Campanella, and you can, go on and on. But they are few and far between. Here's a fly ball to center field, cracked by Smith. Going back, Gutierrez. It's over his head. Heading for third is Crisp with 2 outs. They're going to hold him up. And then to second base with a double is Smith. Montero has to leap to grab that throw, the relay from Brendan Ryan. So the A's rattling around here with 2 down in the 6th inning, already up by 4 runs.
A little bit surprised that they decided to hold Coco Crisp. He looks like he was in pretty good shape as you see the drive by Seth Smith. Good fastball hitter. It hits the base of the wall in center. Franklin gets it in quickly. That felt with 2 outs. They may send him. They decide not to. So Carter still has an opportunity to get out of this inning as Carl Willis makes the trek out to the mound. Get out of this inning without giving up a run.
So the conference on the mound. Things changed in a hurry for Capps. He retired 3, walked 1, retired 3, and now gives up the infield single, which is not much, but a pretty good smash by Smith. And he's got this fella to deal with next, Josh Reddick. So Reddick is 0 for 3, struck out his last 2 times. He was the first hitter to face Carter Capps back in the 4th. And there is ball 1. Rodriguez for years in the American League. Pudge, yeah. That's the kind of fellow we're talking about, that we hope that Mike Zunino becomes, and there's every indication that he will.
He's fast tracking.
Yes. This ball skied. It'll not quite skim the roof. Ryan wants it. Then Robinson says, no, I've got it. And that'll do it. Couple of 2-out hits. The A's lead 2, and they lead 5-1.
Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Get the All-American Jack Combo at Jack in the Box. It's a no-nonsense burger with fries and a drink for only $4.99 plus tax. And by ANA, Japan's leading airline, now operating a daily flight to Tokyo. Visit flyana.com. Ken, Mike, back upstairs to you.
All right, let's see if the Mariners can get some instant runs here in the 6th inning. Saunders offers on the first delivery from Brett Anderson, and it's fouled away.
Looks like they're going to stretch Brett out a little bit tonight. He's already at 95 pitches. That's been his high. Looks like Blevins is throwing in the bullpen. Jerry Blevins, left-hander for the A's.
Saunders doubled and scored in the 2nd, grounded out in the 3rd. The Mariners have had some chances. They've got 1 run on 6 hits, but they've stranded 7 runners.
0 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight.
The 1 hopper played by Pennington, and he gets his man. 1 up and 1 down. Well, Tuesdays are military special nights here at Safeco, and that's where we salute the men and women of the armed forces with a great deal to catch Mariners baseball. And they deserve a great deal. The next one is coming up on the 18th. The Birds will be here, the Baltimore Orioles, and you'll receive $5 off view level seats or $10 off main level seats when you show a valid military ID at the Safeco Field box office or any Mariners team store. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Birds here. Military night on Tuesday, the 18th. Here's Miguel Olivo, safe on an error and retired on a deep fly to center in the 4th. And that is strike number 1.
Jerry Blevins. Seems like the Mariners see him a couple of times every series.
Brett Anderson has been strong, working here in the 6th with the 5-1 lead, looking to run his record to 4-0 in 4 starts. 2 strikes. You look at this A's team, and you mentioned it earlier. I wonder how well they'll do the rest of the way. Can they stay even close to Texas? You think about it, they lose Bartolo Colon. There's a foul ball at the plate. Then the other day, tragically, they lose Brandon McCarthy. I mean, that's a lot to lose in the stretch when you talk about starting pitching.
Right.
It's a lot of pickup needed.
Well, and I think the West, I believe the Rangers will certainly hold on to it. I think that their hope is to get in with one of the wild card spots. It's just a matter of whether they can hang on and get into that situation. But again, we were talking about the Mariners schedule. Their schedule is tough too, and so they're going to have to play some really good baseball if they want to make it.
The 1-2 sent in the air to center field. Crisp is there. And Olivo is out. Let's go now to Angie Minton.
Guys, the Yankees and the O's just continue their battle for AL East supremacy, and the two of them going at it again tonight. They play each other 7 times in 10 games. In the 6th, J.J. Hardy blasts a solo shot to left. It's the 19th time he's left the yard this year. Hardy also had an RBI double in the 3rd, and Baltimore on top of the Bombers. 5-4 is the way it ends. We've got ourselves another tie.
Fun time of the year, isn't it?
Oh, that's great, isn't it? There's a strike on Trayvon Robinson. Now we get the Mariners to keep getting better and better and get them in the thick of things. And you got Houston coming into the AL West next season. It gets a little more interesting, and you get to be a better team. And the team's gotten a lot better this season. And then all of a sudden we can have even more fun than we're having now with these pennant races.
It goes back to what we were talking about, though. Anybody that thought that the A's and the Orioles were going to be in the middle of this thing, I saw more than most, but it gives you an idea how quickly you can turn around. And in a couple of pieces, you can get there. She just mentioned J.J. Hardy. Nice sign by the Orioles. 19 home runs as a shortstop for them. You talked about Cespedes and then Reddick to start this year for the A's. Just those little things. And with the way the Mariners can pitch, and they're going to continue to pitch well, I believe that.
Yeah, they will.
And they're the best defensive club. You're closer than you think if you can find a couple of guys. Now the young guys are going to have to play well. There's no question about that. But a little bit of help for them over the course of the winter, and they may be in the middle of it.
2-2, 3-2 on Robinson. Well, I remember here 2 or 3 weeks ago when the club was really going well. I did the math and I said, let's look at how many games. I said, how many can they win? And I was being, conservative. I said, this club could win 72 games. And I'm going to myself, and I think I mentioned it over on radio a few weeks ago. I said, you know, they got a chance to win 72 this year. They won 67 last year. That would be a huge improvement.
Well,
they can do better than that.
It would be, and they're younger than the club last year.
So the ground out by Robinson, a 1-2-3, 6th inning for the Mariners.
Today's Tracer Technology is brought to you by the Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
5-1. The A's have the lead, so the Mariners have some work to do. Well, here are the fan results to our AT&T trivia question tonight. 54% thinking the last A's pitcher to win the Cy Young Award was Barry Zito. Mike suggested Tim Hudson. I followed the group, went with Barry Zito. Barry Zito.
You had to phone a friend, but that's okay.
There you go. Vida Blue was a pretty good pitcher. Boy, oh boy, he was
a really good pitcher.
Yeah, he was one of those.
Catfish Hunter wasn't bad either.
Yeah. Vito was, as Sean Kelly comes in, Vito was one of those guys that, you know, you thought every night you might just not get anything against him. He was cruel. There's a strike to Cespedes.
Numbers for Kelly: 3.34 ERA, 36 strikeouts over the 35 innings that he has pitched. Sean recently recalled from Tacoma.
This ball will be driven foul, and 2 strikes the count on the A's cleanup hitter. Cespedes with great hitting ability, and of course coming out of Cuba and before the season everybody said, you know, he's pure hitting ability outstanding, but his raw power might be even better than his hitting ability. So he's sitting at 16 home runs, which is nice, not great. This is the 19th consecutive game that Yoenis has not had a home run. Check swing right back to Kelly, and Sean throws over to Justin Smoak, and there's one away. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Chris Carter. So a nice outing for Carter Capps. He stretches it out a little bit, going 2 1/3, gives up a couple of hits, no runs, walks 1, and retires 4 via the strikeout.
Chris Carter is an interesting A for me. He's somebody that started the year in the minor leagues, somebody that the A's have given a couple of different opportunities to and waited for him to come along. And when you look at what he has done this year and the amount of at bats, I think 272 with 14 home runs. Been a nice shot in the arm for the Athletics this year.
1 ball, 1 strike. Carter is, you know, still pretty young. He's only 25.
Put up some big numbers in the minor leagues. Some big home run years.
been over 30 twice in the minors. Back in 2008 in the Cal League Class A, hit 39 homers, and then AAA at Sacramento just 2 years ago hit 31 homers. He's had 3 seasons in the minors over 90 RBIs, 2 of them over 100. So, you know, he's the kind of fella you're going to give a lot of chances to.
Well, again, and he's put those numbers up through the minor leagues and has had to work his way to it, but still just 25 years old.
Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. Montero catches it. Looked like in the lower part of the mass, you can see how it adjusted on his head.
Spun it around a little bit. He's giving the thumbs up to the bench, saying he's okay.
He's fine. How is the helmet? The mask. Look at him.
We'll take a look at it. Straight shot to the face.
Oh. Why, they say? Why would you want to be a catcher? Boy, that's tough. Then you get it in the chest protector. That always doesn't necessarily do the job. And I guess in the arm it doesn't feel that great either. That's a tough place. Carter 2-2. And he's out of there with a weak wave. First strikeout for Sean Kelly. Well, coming up this Thursday right here on Root Sports, it's the high school football game of the week. You'll want to tune in for the Knights of Kings High School. They're taking on the Archbishop Wildcats. That'll be at 7:30 on Thursday. Catch your favorite local teams in action every Thursday this fall right here on Root Sports. High school football always has been exciting, not only in the Puget Sound area but around the state. Swing and a miss by Drew. 1 strike. A good high school football around the Pacific Northwest. You played high school football, I'm sure, right?
Nope.
Yeah, come on, you're a great athlete.
My dad didn't want me to play football because I had a chance to play some baseball, so I listened to him.
Your dad's pretty smart.
Yeah, I listened to him.
1 ball, 1 strike.
My brother played.
Yeah. Wow.
And my son plays. That's
sort of like catching to me, playing football. Kind of rugged. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. My son played JV, and he tells me it was rough. I played a game as a JV, and I hung him up.
All I would say to any of that is see if you can learn to hit a curveball, and if you can, you'll be in better shape.
2-2 on Drew. You know, I always, when I was a little kid, I pictured myself as a wide receiver.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, that's what you want to be. But, I learned by 10 or 12 that wasn't going to happen. You get to high school and the coach says, I think you'd be a good right guard. Down in the dirt, 3 and 2. I had a high school coach who was terrific, but I played, in a big city in a public school, and I played baseball, obviously. And he kept trying to get me to go. I went to camp in the August, 2 weeks.
That's
killed myself.
Yeah, that's fun.
Went to in the fall to football class instead of swim. I did all those things, and when I got right down to strapping it on, I said, I just can't do it, Coach. I just can't do it. Drew strikes out. 2 strikeouts for Kelly. 7th inning. A's go 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back. The Mariners' 7th inning stretch is brought to you by Captain Morgan. Raise your glass, always in moderation, to life, love, and loot. Hey, folks, it's Saturday, and we are in September, so chances are there's college football going around. Athletics on top of the Mariners here, 5-1. Down south, the Dogs were at LSU, Baton Rouge, and things didn't go well. 3rd and 10, the third quarter for the Tigers. Dogs down 27-3, and Zach Mettenberger launching downfield to Kadron Brune for a 32-yard touchdown. LSU doesn't let up on the Dogs, the final 41-3. Ouch. Back upstairs to Ken and Mike.
Ouch, ouch. It's not fun to go to LSU. There's a few other places it's not fun to go to, especially early in the season when you're in non-conference. When else are you going to go? That's a tough one for our Washington friends.
That little guy wasn't worried about it at all.
Life is good. I'm at the big league ball game. Ball one to Brendan Ryan leading off here in the 7th. New pitcher for the Oakland Athletics, right-hander Pat Neshek. He's a veteran, 32 years of age, picking up for the starter Brett Anderson. He gets the inside corner 1-1.
Anderson pitched well again. He's on a good roll right now. The left-hander for the A's. You mentioned them losing a couple of starters. He's like picking up one in a trade. Been hurt all year with Tommy John surgery. This was his 4th start. Came into the game 3-0 with an 0.90 ERA.
Got a chance of fighting himself tomorrow morning. 4 starts, 4-0. That'd be a pretty nice return from the surgery. Third baseman Donaldson in tight. Everybody else back just outside. 3 balls and a strike on Ryan, who's been hit by a pitch and grounded to short.
Well, the Mariners did a good job of putting some pressure on them. They've had some runners on bases tonight. Just haven't been able to pick them up. So maybe they can accomplish that against the bullpen of the A's. It's a good start.
There is ball 4. The M's down by 4. Get the leadoff man on in the 7th inning. Time for our Sterling Bank. Nobody works harder for you. Brett Anderson. There are the numbers for the left-hander.
As you take a look at it, 6 innings, 6 hits. He gave up 1 run. It was unearned. Didn't walk anybody. That's the way he's been pitching. 4 strikeouts, 108 pitches. That's the season high for him. Previous high was 95 pitches, so they stretched him out tonight. He pitched well.
Here's the Mariners leadoff hitter Dustin Ackley. He looks at ball 1. Time called now. Gutierrez wants to go out and visit with Neshek.
Neshek 6 pitches, 5 of them for balls. Struggling a little bit.
He's really pitched well since coming over on August 3rd from the Orioles.
Yes, he has. You look at that ERA at an 0.73. Opponent's average just 140. Pitched 12 in the 3rd and has 14 strikeouts.
That's right there. 1 ball, 1 strike on Ackley, who has a hit in 3 tries. The Mariners have, had some chances. They could be in this game. They're down 5-1, but they've only been out hit 8-6. They've stranded 7. That's the big bugaboo. This one popped up over the third base dugout, and it's a ball and a couple of strikes. There is Sean Doolittle.
He pitched in last night's ball game. Good arm. His fastball 94, 95 miles an hour.
The A's certainly a surprise team this season. They've been a fascinating franchise, especially since Billy Beane took over. Liner to left center. Great jump by Coco Crisp. I mean, he was off and going when the ball left the bat. Ackley's the first out in the inning. Look at that. Best record since the All-Star break in the American League. Mariners right there, but Oakland excelling.
Right there with the Orioles. Baltimore winning again tonight.
You got to tip your hat to the Mariners. I mean,
I think you absolutely
really
do.
I mean, seriously, we're all hopeful all the time. First pitch to Gutierrez is a strike. He's 2 for 3. And
you were talking about spring training earlier, and I think that we knew leaving camp they had one of the youngest teams in the American League, if not baseball. That they had a lot of inexperience, and what you want to do is find the guys that could play, and we're going to help you in the future, and hope that you get better as a collective group, which is something that Eric Wedge has been talking about all year. And that number right there tells you that has been the case.
Yeah, it's a wow to me. It's a wow. Sure, there's other clubs that have done as well, but some of them have quite a bit more talent. I'll admit Baltimore and Oakland are a bit of a surprise.
And more experienced players.
Yeah. Now the count's 2-1 on Franklin with Ryan at first and one out here in the seventh inning.
And that's exactly the reason why, from when we talked to Eric Wedge, why he feels it's important, even though the schedule is difficult here in September, that they continue to grind out these games and get their wins and win series.
Yeah, talking, before the game, that was the big thing he said to me. We really want to have a strong finish. It just adds to your confidence. It just sets the stage for next season. Swing and a miss. 2-2 on Gutierrez. Here you are, and we were talking about win total, 67 equaling last season, 23 to go include. Even if you go 8-15 the rest of the way, which would be a strong disappointment, you'd still end up going 75-87 this season. That's a dramatic improvement over a season ago. High pop-up out of play, 2-2, and I think they're going to do better than 8-15 down the stretch, but it could happen. And even if that does, and you go, well, that's a little disappointing for a finish, you get to the end and you're at 75 and 87. That's a heck of a year for this club. You're right there knocking on the door of 500. And my argument always is, if you're around 500, you got a chance to win a division or certainly get a playoff spot. You're not far from being in the postseason. This ball is skied, and hit a mile high, back to second. The second sacker, Pennington, makes the catch. 2 down, holding at first is Ryan.
I think this, regardless of where they're going to be at the end of the year as far as their win total goes, I think if you look at this club and you're one of the few that has the luxury of having one of the top 3 pitchers in all of baseball on your squad, which the Mariners do in Felix. And you see the improvement as Bob Melvin comes out to make it. But you have Jason Vargas also, 14-game winner, pitching tomorrow, a chance to win 15. And you play the defense that you do. Just let the young guys continue to get better, and you have a chance.
To the bullpen goes Bob Melvin. We're in the 7th inning, 5-1 A's.
Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Snoqualmie Casino, Seattle's premier entertainment, gaming, and dining destination. By Sterling Bank, life is about the good stuff. Your bank should be too. Visit our new website at bankwithsterling.com. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network, AT&T Rethink Possible. A mom right there to your right. She's got one going strong and one down for the count. Guys, upstairs to you.
All right, Angie. Here is Kyle Seager. The new pitcher is Sean Doolittle. And he checks up on Ryan at first with 2 down in the 7th. The Mariners, as you can see on the scoreboard there, down by 4. Seager has come up empty, 0 for 3, 1 out of 7 in the first 2 games of this series. That's a good pitch there, 1 strike.
Doolittle's numbers on the year, 49 strikeouts over the 33 in the 3rd. That's a big number. Only 8 walks. ERA at 3.5.
Doolittle's quite a story out of New Jersey and the University of Virginia. Swing and a miss, 0-2. I mean, he's a dandy story. University of Virginia, in his college career, he was the all-time school RBI leader. He was a batter. As a sophomore in 2006, he was the ACC Player of the Year. And he also pitched a bit in college, but he was primarily a hitter. Foul back, 0-2. Then he was drafted by the A's, supplement pick after the first round in 07. And he started out as a hitter. 07, 08, 09, minor leagues, worked up to AAA. He was a hitter, didn't pitch at all in pro ball. And then had a leg injury, had surgery, didn't play last year. Outside 1-2. Finally came back, pitched one game in the Arizona, the instructional type league. That's it. So this season is his first season in pro ball as a pitcher. And he started the year at Stockton, moved up to Midland, moved up to Sacramento, ends up in the big leagues. And here he is in his first real pro season as a hurler, and he's in the big leagues. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Left-handed, 94, 95 miles an hour, and he throws strikes. Wow. Everybody has room for that guy, don't they?
I think so. Last I've heard. Those knee problems he had last season with surgery might have been the best thing that ever happened to him. Swing and a foul into the glove of the catcher, Gutierrez. The Mariners are done here in the 7th. They're down by 4. America Baseball Night, a salute to the Latin American baseball business and the Latin American folks in our area. So we've got a little spice of life here tonight at Safeco. 8th inning, Josh Donaldson leads off against Sean Kelly, and there's ball 1. Kelly came on in the 7th inning, 3rd pitcher of the night for the M's, and went through the A's 1-2-3. Donaldson 1 out of 3 tonight. He cuts, hammers one to third, comes up on Seager. He stays with it and guns him out. 1 up and 1 down. Folks, time now for the Home Depot doing more on defense.
We've seen this a few times this year. Trayvon Robinson racing towards the line and making a catch on a slicing line drive. Crashing into the wall. He's hit that wall a few times too, but a good play by Trayvon.
The batter is the catcher, George Gutierrez, who has done the same thing tonight as he did last night as he looks at a strike. Changed really the whole focus of the game. Last night it was a 3-run homer that broke a 1-1 tie. Tonight it was a 2-run homer that took the A's lead from 2-1 to 4-1. So he's gotten them to 4-1 the first 2 games of this series.
And he's been hot. You have the numbers. What is he now as far as homers go?
Last 5 games, 4 home runs and 13 RBIs. 13 RBIs is pretty impressive in a stretch of 5 games, to say nothing of the 4 homers. I think he's in there until he has an offer.
He's endearing himself to Bob Melvin, a former catcher himself.
Yeah. The kid they like, their catcher of the future, they say, is Derek Norris, who doesn't have much of a bat, but he's the fella they think will be their everyday catcher. But Gutierrez trying to say, no, don't forget
yet.
me. Yeah,
Not yet.
They got another kid that some folks in this part of the country might know, Ryan Ortiz, right-handed hitter who was a great player at Oregon State, who's in their minor league system. Gutierrez strikes out. So Sean Kelly doing a great job. Has pitched an inning and 2/3, so that's 5 hitters by my math, and he has struck out 3 of them. So 2 down, base is empty, and the hitter is Cliff Pennington, who is 1 for 3.
5 for 8 in the series, so Cliff Pennington swinging the bat well. Been a tough year for him, 208 overall, but he's been a hot hitter also.
Ball 1. Of course, Pennington now, you talked about it earlier when he had a play, playing second base. He had played 439 straight games, 439 consecutive starts at shortstop, and now this is his 12th start in a row at second base. It's not an impossible transition, but it's certainly a pretty significant change.
It is when you're on the left side of the diamond and you're used to seeing everything from that side, and all of a sudden you go over to the right. And I think the most difficult thing would probably be the double play, especially when he has his back to the runner. That's always a tough play and a tough adjustment to make for guys that are used to being on the left side of the infield. So we'll see how he does the rest of the way.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Played second base. You don't have quite the demand on your throwing,
which he has a really good arm.
Yeah. Fouls it back, 1-2. You got to be ready. You got to be able, if you can play multi positions, you're just so much more valuable. And that's not anything dramatic. Everybody knows it, but you never know. You might be
you create opportunities for yourself by being able to do that.
You might be a fine everyday guy, but somebody better comes along. You want to be able to move somewhere. 4-3 on the putout. 2 perfect innings for Sean Kelly here at Safeco Field.
They trail right now by 4. Hi, everybody. Angie Mentink here at the Ford Sports Desk. All night long, we've been focusing on the American League. Well, now we're going to switch our focus over to the National League. Dodgers and the Giants all tied at 2 in the 9th, and Hanley Ramirez bolts one out to the gap in right center field. That placed Adrian Gonzalez, and the Dodgers squeeze past the Giants 3-2 in our Sterling Banks score from the senior circuit. Guys?
All right, thanks very much, Angie. There's the National League West. Dodgers trying to hang in there. Time kind of running out. There's a strike. to Jesus Montero leading off the 8th inning. I was just thinking, watching Angie there, and Angie just does such a sensational job. Watching her there, she looks at whatever she has in her hand.
Right.
iPad, this, that, whatever it may be. Swing and a miss, 0-2. And I was thinking, I said, could you see Harry Carey or Mel Allen? Or, times have changed so much. You're on the air, you're a journalist, you need something, boom, it's right there.
Right.
Fascinating.
So, no, I couldn't imagine it.
No. Our friend Dave Niehaus? No. Probably not.
Probably not.
Our friend Ken Wilson? Probably not. Probably not.
Although you did look at a text message.
Yeah. I got it.
That's pretty good.
And I do know how to text. But if I was, on the air standing up like Angie, I wouldn't be as good as Angie in the first place. But having to, kind of be talking and look down and, be at the right place to look at the scores, that's fascinating. I'm impressed. I'm easily impressed, but Angie's done it. Montero has a couple of hits and 3 at-bats. He's riding a 7-game hitting streak, and that one is tight, 2-2. He's facing Sean Doolittle here in the 8th inning. Doolittle picking up for Brett Anderson and Pat Neshek. Anderson, the starter, had a very good outing. 6 hits, an unearned run, 3 strikeouts over 6 innings. The ball skied to right field, drifting over Reddick, an easy play, and he's got it 1 down.
I have to say that I'm impressed. Not by your ability to work an iPhone or an iPad or whatever, but
and Angie, is good. So the folks are watching the highlights when she does that, but I can see her looking down, and it's pretty impressive.
Right. But because you and I have had many conversations about things, but I just found out, Chris Wilson just told me that you started in Hawaii, announcing games in Hawaii.
Yeah, I wanted to go right to the bottom.
That sounds like really tough duty.
Smoke hits the ball to shallow right. Reddick the catch, 2 up and 2 down.
Now how long did you have to suffer through that?
I did 3 seasons of baseball in the Coastal League with Hawaii. That's where I started way back in. And I was really lucky because I was a year out of college, less than a year out of college. I was doing AAA ball in a booth with Al Michaels. Al and I did Coastal League games together. And that was a nice place to start. I could have been in rookie ball somewhere on a bus.
You definitely could have. That's where most people are. I mean, I hear about Rick Riz all the time and his start in Amarillo, Texas. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's not Hawaii.
Off the glove of Carter. Saunders at first base with a 2-out single here in the 8th inning. So the Mariners looking to get something going, down 5-1.
And for Michael, his second base hit of the game. Sit over to the hole. You can see the diving effort by the first baseman Carter. Get Miguel Olivo to step on one right here, and you're right back into the ball game.
Yeah, Miguel's overdue tonight. He's 0 for 3. Now you look back and you review your life every once in a while. Everybody wants to look to the future, but you can't forget the past. To be less than a year out of high school broadcasting AAA baseball in Honolulu, and Al and I worked together, and we ended up winning a championship in the Coastal League that year. Chuck Tanner was the manager. We got into the playoffs against Spokane. Tom Lasorda was the manager. In my first year in pro ball, I was over in Spokane doing a game on television in the minor leagues, postseason in the Coastal League. When I look back, I think less than a year out of college. How did you talk about falling into it?
How did that work schedule-wise? Did you guys stay there for 2 or 3 weeks at a time?
Yeah. They you'd have a long homestand, and you always played well at home because everybody was at the beach and drinking Mai Tais after the game, so you won almost all your home games. It's a good deal. 1 strike pitch, and it's away 1-1, and then you had pretty long road trips. We did primarily recreates of the road games.
Oh.
Although we did do some trips. I remember going to Tacoma and to Phoenix and Tucson and Salt Lake City. I remember going with Al Michaels on an old Western Airlines flight, one of the first trips we took.
Brent Balfour getting loose.
Yeah. And Al had a better stature in life even then than I did. I remember he, too cold. Where's the blanket? I said, Al, come on, we're in minor league baseball. Swing and a miss, 2-2. And fortunately, it wasn't long after that. I was here in Seattle. Dave and I starting with the Mariners. So, and I was, as math would tell people who think about it at all, this is 2012. So I was pretty young when I came here to Seattle for the '77 season. I'm appreciative. How's that? Out of play, 2-2, but Hawaii was a nice place to start.
I would think so.
And you know, so my minor league days were in Hawaii, and I have an affection for the islands. Obviously, I've lived there a lot and know a lot of people there and really enjoy it. And the Pacific Northwest has been absolutely fabulous for me. So I've been a pretty lucky guy for a Midwesterner. I headed west. It was a good thing to do. Good thing to do. 5-1, Mariners trail, trying to get something here. Here's a fly ball down the line, right field. Reddick over onto the track, and he makes the catch. So the Mariners threaten, but can't get it done here in the 8th. They have a trailing situation, 5-1 going to the 9th.
Today's Tracer Technology is brought to you by the Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Great to have you along on Root Sports. The A's own this game to this point with a 5-1 lead as the contest goes to the 9th. Mike Blowers here on Ken Wilson, enjoying the evening. Beautiful night when it started here. They had a little, barely a drizzle, and they closed the roof. But still a very nice environment here at the old ballpark. And the new pitcher here in the 9th is Stephen Pryor.
Stephen trying to keep the game right where it's at. ERA, 2.51 ERA for Stephen. 18 strikeouts over the 14 and a third innings that he has pitched. Only 6 walks. Good fastball. He'll be in the mid-90s. Also throws a hard slider. Slider would be in the upper 80s, maybe even 90 miles an hour.
First man up is Coco Crisp. There's the fastball. That's a strike at 94. Coco has walked, grounded out, driven in a run with a double, and picked up an infield single. So he's been struggling with a bat, and 0 for 5 last night, so he's pretty excited about going 2 for 3. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. After Crisp, it'll be Smith, then Reddick here in the 9th. And the bottom of the 9th shows Robinson, Ryan, and Ackley due for Eric Wedge's club. Defense straight away on the switch hitter Crisp. Pulls a slow roller to Ackley. Easy play. 1 up and 1 down. Well, Sunday the 23rd, not too far away, the Youngsters Appreciation Day. That's right, Kids Appreciation Day here at the ballpark. Folks, this is filled with prizes, surprises, mascots, and, well, a whole lot more. Here are the details now. All youngsters 14 and under score a Mariner Moose poster thanks to Kid Valley and Ivars. Plus, they'll win great giveaways all game long, including a BMX bike, Mariner autographs, an electric guitar, what youngster wouldn't like that, a Nintendo Wii, and a whole lot more. What a day for the kids. Kids Appreciation Day on the 23rd. First pitch is a strike to Seth Smith. So make sure to join us for a pregame parade around the infield. That all kicks off at 11:30 on Sunday the 23rd. Get your tickets at mariners.com. Smith pulls it off the glove of Smoke, and Smith will be safe at first base with one out here in the 9th inning. That'll be a single for Smith, and he's 2 for 4.
Justin has done such a good job at first base this year as he reaches out. It goes off the end of his glove. See it clearly off our McDonald's Supermo. And that deflection is actually overrunning it, but that'll be an infield hit for Smith.
9 hits now for Oakland, 7 for the Mariners, each club with an error, and it's 5-1 A's. They won last night 6-1. Ball 1 on Josh Reddick. Remember now, tomorrow you might plan on coming out. Should be a lot of fun here. First pitch at 1:10 tomorrow. Jason Vargas against Tommy Malone, a pair of lefties. There's a strike. Vargas, of course, having the best season of his big league career, and Malone, who's really new to the big leagues, having a fine campaign himself.
Jason going for his 15th win of the season tomorrow. ERA at a 3.80 for Jason, but he's really pitched well. A few starts left. Get into that 16-17 win area. That's a fine season.
Yeah, especially when you're on a club that's not going to win 95 or 100
right.
games. Josh Reddick having a terrible time with the bat. He's 0 for 9 here in the first 2 games of this series, and 2 for his last 27. When you're in a stretch like that, I'm not sure you even want to go up there. 2-2, but you don't have a choice, I guess.
Well, I think he probably looks at it more of, he has 28 home runs. I'm sure he'd like to get to 30, so he wants to get his hacks in the rest of the way.
Yeah, it only takes a fat one to get 29. I like his facial hair. Kind of cool. There's a hit. Sharp line drive on a 2-2 pitch around second. Smith galloping to third as the throw comes into Brendan Ryan, and with one out, the A's touch up Stephen Pryor with back-to-back singles, and it'll bring up Yoenis Cespedes.
So he gets an off-speed pitch, change-up at 89 miles an hour, and hits it hard back up the middle. But again, it's just a single. So Stephen Pryor, a little bit of trouble here in the 9th.
So Cespedes, the cleanup hitter, 2 hits last night. A double in 4 official tries. He was safe on an error. So he's 1 for 4 tonight and 3 for 9 in the series. He's got a nice spot here. 1 out, runners at first and third in the 9th. 5-1 A's, and he takes a strike. The Mariners have everybody kind of shortened up here. Ryan and Ackley short and second doing some communicating. Now Seager backs off at third. You get a good look at it here. Cespedes, a mighty cut, and it's 2 strikes. A lot of folks watching Cespedes come out of Cuba and move into spring training with the A's, talking about him having athletic ability, and this is incredible, really, compared to Bo Jackson. Well, I guess I don't think he can be quite Bo Jackson, but even to talk about athletic ability in the same breath as Bo Jackson is mighty interesting. He's a specimen. 2 strikes.
You can see that he's strong and he also runs well. I'm not sure he's in the class of Bo Jackson, but he's a tremendous athlete.
I think Bo was almost superhuman, wasn't he?
I think so.
Well, he was.
One of the most impressive things ever is when he had that hip surgery and the hip replacement and he came back and played.
Yeah, came back with the Angels and played. Oh, my. Oh, was he strong or what? Wow. Only 1 down here. The A's threatening to add to a 5-1 lead in the 9th. Their hit total now is 10. Here's a fly ball to center field. Tagging at third is Smith. Under the ball, Gutierrez makes the catch. He'll throw to second. Seth Smith scores to make it 6-1. Same score as we saw last night, and that is RBI number 66 for Yoenis Cespedes. Sacrifice fly, 2 down. And that'll bring up Chris Carter. It's been a long night for him. 0 for 4. He struck out 3 times. So tomorrow, 1 o'clock, a little pregame activity here on Root Sports. Be with us. There's a strike. If you can't make it out to Safeco Field, that would be the first option. The Mariners are off Monday, traveling to Toronto, where they'll play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. Swing and a miss. 2 strikes. 4 o'clock Pacific Northwest time for those 3 games from Toronto. Of course, all of them right here. And then 3 down in Texas. Then home. 3 with the Orioles, 3 with the Rangers. A lot of great action coming up yet. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You look at the Mariners. After tonight, they'll have 4 with Oakland, 6 with LA Angels, 6 with Texas. So that's 16 of the 22 games against very tough competition. And that's not throwing in Baltimore. Carter strikes out. And that's it for the A's in the 9th. They add a run, making it a little more difficult as the Mariners will come up in the bottom half down 6-1. There's your score. It's the bottom of the 9th upcoming. The Mariners have the 8, 9, and 1 hitters due against the new pitcher. The 4th of the night for the Oakland Athletics. It is right-hander Evan Scribner who will try to get the final 3 outs for the A's.
For Scribner, a 2.66 ERA, 20 strikeouts and just 5 walks. Held opponent to a 2.28 average. It's given up 2 home runs this year. For the Mariners, it'll be the bottom of the order. Trayvon Robinson will lead things off. John Jaso has come out to pinch hit for Brendan Ryan. That'll turn the lineup over.
So we'll see if the Mariners can pull off a miracle here in the bottom of the 9th. Trailing 6-1. They've been out hit 10-7. 9 runners left on base. That's a big part of the story here tonight at Safeco Field. Trayvon 0 for 3. Drove in the only run, the unearned run in the 2nd, with a fielder's choice, grounded out 6-4, and it's 1 strike. Anderson, Neshek, Doolittle, now Scribner. There's Jaso on deck. Scribner has been up and down between here and Sacramento all season. His change a dandy, and all of a sudden Robinson in the hole 0-2. There's the story of runners left on base. There have been a lot of base runners in this game. with a couple of errors. There have been 4 walks. There's been a hit batter along with the 17 hits.
And there's been a home run. Unfortunately, it was for the A's.
That did play a factor, didn't it? I recall that back in the 4-run Athletics 4th inning. Fly ball center field. Well struck. Back is crisp, and Coco has it. 1 away here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Well, hey, kids, while the Mariners play on the Safeco Field diamond, you're invited to play in an area made just for you. That's the Seattle Children's Playfield. It's located out on the main concourse right here at Safeco out in center field. And while you're there, pay a visit to the Moose Den to have your photo taken with none other than the Mariner Moose. For the families, for the youngsters, it's a great part of coming to a Mariners ball game here at Safeco Field. There's a strike to John Jaso, pinch hitting for Brendan Ryan. Jaso's had really a terrific season, hitting .274 and 5 out of 15 as a pinch hitter. 1-1. Usually, you know, if you looked at the major leagues, 260, 262 is about the average. Usually pinch hitters are well below that,
right?
Because it's a tougher job. The interesting thing here is Mariners pinch hitters this season have done a remarkable job. Mariners pinch hitters are hitting .291. The only team better in the American League pinch hitting is Oakland. They're pinch hitting .299. There's a strike, 2-2. And that's .291.
That's really, really good. And especially when you think different than the National League pinch hitters get to pinch hit more often.
Right.
You would think that they would have better success. In the American League, it's a little bit tough. I mean, here we are in September. The Mariners' best pinch hitter, John Jaso, is at 15.
Yeah.
This will be the 16th pinch hit of the season.
Yeah.
Now, fortunate for the Mariners, he's also some of those hits that we were showing you also were big ones that either tied or won ball games.
Crisp to his right, and he's got it. 2 up, 2 down. So that's 16 pinch hits, pinch hit at bats, not hits, but 16 official at bats as a pinch hitter for Jason. Next highest on the club is Eric Thames with 9, and that's, you know, with Toronto also. And Mike Karp was 6. So you're right. There aren't many chances to pinch hit. Ackley, strike 1.
Remember former Mariner Dave Hansen, who I played with the Dodgers. It seemed that he would get an at bat almost every night.
Yeah.
And he was really good at it too. Tough role.
Swing and a miss, 0-2. There have been some, you know, real good pinch hitters over the years, but not many of them.
No, it's a tough job.
The Mariners down to their final out, trailing 6-1 here in the 9th. And it's 1-2 on Ackley. The starter, Iwakuma, 3 2/3, gave up 5 runs for the Mern. Big 2-run homer in the 4-run 4th off the bat of Coteras. And that's going to do it. So this one is over. Ackley strikes out. 1-2-3 the story for the Mariners here in the 9th inning. And the final tonight here at Safeco Field, the Athletics 6 and the Mariners 1.
They're going to have to find some offense, Ken, in this series so far. The Mariners 1 run last night, 1 run tonight. So offensively, they have struggled. But how about the starters? 2 of their best starters, Felix last night and Iwakuma tonight, both of them just going 4 2/3. So it's been a tough go. They're going to have to lean on Vargas tomorrow for the day game. Vargas going for his 15th win of the season, but ultimately they're going to have to find a way to pick up some base hits with runners on base.
23-177 the attendance, 3 hours 7 minutes. Thanks for being with us. A lot more coming up. Let's go to Brad and Bill.
Gentlemen, thank you. I had to check my sheet here, Bill. Today's the 8th, right? This is Saturday. Although this game was the exact same game that happened last night. 6-1 score. Saunders scoring the only run. Felix and Iwakuma, as Mike Lauer said, leaving the game early. Eerily similar.
Is the Sonny Bono song for Groundhog Day.
That's right.
Missing.
Wake up every morning, hit the alarm clock.
Yep.
Coteras a home run in each of the games. We'll talk about that in just a second. As the A's win back-to-back games here, 6-1, eerily similar as the A's celebrate just about the exact same game as last night. Anderson goes to 4-0. Iwakuma drops to 6-4. We'll have a different post game coming up